All righty. Good morning. All right. Very philosophical and tough conversations today. Sending our thoughts to Chad Chat this morning as she just came out with some horrible news. Just thinking about her and every woman who's been in an abusive relationship, just thinking about her and every person of any gender who's been in an abusive relationship, who is dealing with something as heavy as she is dealing with. And props to her for standing up for herself, because I know it must have been hard. We'll talk about it later today. I want to focus on a few things today. We'll be continuing our vegan conversation, answering a question that I got in chat. And I also want to say and encourage anyone to ask questions if they are genuinely asking. You know, over on my commentary channel, I have a vegan video, and I was trying to converse with somebody in the comments, and I don't think people hear themselves when they type, but I really need people to understand that I cannot hear tone in comments, and you must not start with an insult. If you begin the conversation with an insult, then you've put the reader on defense, which means now I think I'm combating somebody who's already angry at me for something they misunderstood. Okay? So this person and I went back and forth for a bit. They were like, I'm genuinely asking. If you're genuinely asking something, then you need to approach people with the question and not the judgment first. Okay? Because it's confusing. So this person asked me, they're like, it's so weird that you never used to give prescriptions and now you're telling people how to think. Okay, so now I've been insulted. You're being weird. You've changed. You're not the same person you used to be. And it's incorrect. I still don't make prescriptions, right? And then it's like, oh, now you're coping. But that's cope. That's cope. I can't hear your tone. So even if you're being the most genuine person who's ever been, in tone, in text, I can't hear it. So even if you're being very matter of fact, like, oh, Brittany, I think that's a cope. You need to explain that, because I need to know who I'm talking to. I need to know if you're even worth my time. Or are you somebody who's just arguing with me over veganism when you're not even interested in ever thinking about it? Because if you're a person who's already decided, like, there's no chance in hell I'm being vegan, even if it's just like, which is very different than there's no chance in hell I'll ever be racist. It's not like I'm trying to convince people to be racist. I'm trying to just ask you to consider. I'm not even telling you to be vegan, right? I'm not even a vegan myself. I'm telling you to consider, because this is a philosophy channel, what does it mean to exist? So when people, like, you know, come to the stream, ask questions, go to my commentary channel, leave comments, be a part of the community, and understand that the reason this doesn't run like a boy bubble is because boy bubbles are incredibly bad faith. So if you would like a toxic, like, masculinity, patriarchal debate, you can go to Reddit. Okay? If you want completely bad faith characters who are yelling each other over, you can go to Reddit. Okay? Don't talk to me like I'm a Reddit boy. And you will get the answer you were looking for. Okay, now with that said, shout out to everybody who was in chat yesterday. Fantastic. Well done. Shout out to everyone who asked questions in my recent video. Well done. We'll talk about it in a second. It's like, you know how desperately eager I am to have a serious philosophical question? Like, I'm so excited about it. There's nothing worse than engaging with somebody who like they're not even trying, and then they're yelling at you for not trying. And it's like, I'm the one who's desperate. Okay? I'm the one who's desperate for a good conversation. Don't tell me I'm not trying. Okay, now, before we jump into it, here's another reminder that I am always right and debate bros are stupid. Because remember when I was in the debate bro bubble and I was on Destiny's stream and I was talking about nudist events in Seattle and like nude places in Seattle, and I was trying to explain like it's more than possible to have friends of all genders, because they were like, men and women can't be friends unless they want to fuck. And I'm like, what? No, like that's only true for the individuals. It's not true for the genders. And people were like, I'm in Seattle and Brittany's crazy. Like, no, like whatever she's talking about does not exist here. Well, guess who's in the news? Guess who made the news? Seattle. Denny Blaine Park. Okay, if you know, you know. Shout out to my nudists.
Denny Blaine has been the center of a growing divide between neighbors and park goers over how the space should be used and what the city should enforce. The park has been a clothing optional space for decades and a gathering place for the LGBTQ plus community. Residents behind the lawsuit say the city needs to stop alleged illegal sexual behavior they've documented.
We just want people to obey the law, okay? That's what people need to do. And so what the park can be is what it's not now.
Everyone should have the right to enjoy the beach on a nice, warm summer day. You know, we filed a motion for clarification because someone was told that they can't wear that they had to wear a shirt.
Denny Blaine has been the
Who, what? Been there, done that. Anyways, shout out to Denny. Listen, at the end of the day, the dilemma, see, it felt like when I was in Seattle, God, I really felt, and I feel bad for all the locals, but I really came in before it all went to shit. And then I left, obviously. I was there for 5 years. I got there in 2012. And I was there during like when locals started getting kicked out because of Jeff fucking Bezos. And I remember being there. I remember my Uber driver was a teacher who used to be able to afford rent and was now driving Uber because he couldn't afford it anymore. And he never bought a house because he never needed to before because people were doing fine just renting. And, you know, so I understand how bad Seattle has gotten, but I was there during a time when I can't tell you how many times I've been to Seattle and I've just stripped down and gone swimming, or how many times my friends and I have gone skinny dipping, or how many times I've been to nude events, or how many times there have been parades. So when people sit there and they tell you, no, that's not true, Brittany's lying, I've been there, that's not happening, peace and love, we can live in the same city and not experience it the same way. I'm not trying to build a hierarchy. I'm not trying to say I'm better than you. I'm not trying to say anything like that, right? I'm trying to say just because you experience a place in one way doesn't mean it's not different for other people. It's like when you have many siblings in a family, just because we all share the same parents doesn't mean we're all not having a different experience. So, you know, all of that to say, especially since I am queer and the LGBT community is always in conflict with how normies are, there's always a conversation about us. And since I am queer and I am in those bubbles, of course I was there at those events. Like, that's the other part of it that people are missing. Like, remember that when I got introduced to Destiny, people were like, oh, he's bisexual, non-binary, all this stuff. And I was like, oh, cool. Because I was like, oh, another queer person. And then when I showed up on stream and it became abundantly clear, like, this is not a gay person. This is not a queer person. Like, this is a bisexual person. This isn't like something's weird. What's going on here? You know, and what is weird because he's not even like a Blair White or an Ariel Scarcella. It's not like he's a right-wing grifter. It's worse. He's a left-wing grifter. He's a Democrat grifter. He's a Zionist. You know what I mean? It's like even weirder, but he's bisexual and, you know, all this. So, you know, when I came into that bubble and I was thinking I was coming into like a sex positive queer bubble who like knew what was up, you have this realization as you enter the bubbles like, oh, I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, Chet says a liberal. You know, I don't know what's going on here. Now, I will say, shout out for Seattle making the news and also bummer dude, you know, liberal derogatory. Oh my God, I'm gonna sneeze. God bless America, the land that I love. Okay, let me see. I was wondering how you felt about the channel, or not channel, oh my God. The online dating coach, Chantel. I don't even know who that is. Do I know who that is, Chantel? I don't even know if I know who that is. I don't think I know who that is. I don't think I know this lady. A dating coach. I don't really watch dating coaches unless they come up on my TikTok. I don't really. Boom. Yeah, what the fuck? Is my VPN on? Why is this slow as fuck?
Between him and the other parent. Because the
whoa, red flags in the chat. I don't even know who this is. If I have seen her, I don't remember. I guess I have no opinion because I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Sorry. Look up Chantel library clip. Jesus Christ. Does she have a viral clip? Hold on. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Look
Man,
great. That's a snazzy.
I've really been stimming that song for months, bro. Let's see.
When should I give up on somebody?
When they're not interested
Oh, this is a guy. He has like a show. The show.
in you.
What if they say they're interested in me? They tell me they love me, but they don't show it?
Then they don't love you and they're not interested in you.
You think so?
Yeah, because it doesn't matter what people say. What matters is what they do. That's why we use the no kissing for 3 months dating rule, because people can say anything. But what are your choices of behaviors over time and not just initially?
What about like it's like showing nothing until it's about to end, and then they come in with the doing.
That means it was always nothing, and the doing is a manipulation.
Whoa.
Their patterns are important.
Yeah.
So if their pattern is initially doing lots and then doing nothing, that's the reality of the pattern is that was a facade and this is the reality is the nothing.
So how do I let go of that?
Well, you have to get out of your imagination and ground yourself in reality. Your mantra is, I don't want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with me.
When should I?
Okay. Wait, Jess says no kissing for 3 months is new to me. Wait, did she say that? Did she say that? Jess says, could you check out Dr. Fatima? She made a video about the science of objectivity and its intersectionality with reality. You know what? I haven't yet jumped into Dr. Fatima's work. I've tried a few times and I haven't quite gotten into it myself. My chat really loves her though. Like my Discord especially. Guys, this curl is really driving me crazy. It's a bad curl. My Discord has really loved her over the last few months, and I know Michael Burns collabs with her and stuff. But I haven't got into her myself. Like I've tried watching her, and my brain doesn't quite. To be fair, I'm not much of a science girly. Like the science she does. Like that's not my special interest. So I'm just zoning out. But I've tried. You know what I mean, right? And I'll go back, I'm sure, but yeah, and that's no shade to her. That's just letting you guys know, like I have, my brain works the way that it does, you know what I mean? And so it's one of those things where I can't push it, let's see. Okay. Chet says, I'm going to go about my day wondering why that song is in my head. You're welcome. Welcome. Do you have thoughts on the direct action vegan organizations like Sea Shepherd or Animal Liberation Front? No, I have absolutely zero opinions about vegan organizations as I'm not in the bubble. I think the dilemma is like, I'm not in the bubble. I don't know all of their, their actions, what they stand for, what they're doing. I think that's why I like veganism as a philosophy, because it's separate from political action. Like political action, vegan political action is separate from the philosophy. And that's why I say like it comes down to the individual and how you show up as a community member. So activism is how you're showing up as a community member. It is not your relationship with yourself, right? Your relationship with yourself should be why you're showing up as a community member that way, which is why when you're a bad community member, it means you're probably having a bad relationship with self. Because it's like, if you're a good community member, you would show up in a way that is a reflection of the relationship you're having with yourself to some extent, not always, not so black and white, but Okay, now, why are they talking in a library and whispering? That's the whole shtick. That's his shtick, Okay, let's see. Is that all there? Are we done with the opening thing? Should we go to the next thing? Okay, I want to go into this story. It's sad though. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do Chat Chat's story, which is, I'm just bringing awareness to it. It's even bigger than Chat Chat in a sense, but I want you to know that it can happen to anybody, and Chat Chat isn't alone. We just support her. But Chat Chat, trigger warning, posted a TikTok about something she's going through with her ex-husband, which I did not know, like many of us did not realize she was married. And she had been with him for, I think, 7 years. And apparently he is disguising himself as a Reddit poster and posting horrible things about Chat Chat. And he just sounds like exactly your ex-boyfriend. Like, exactly the type of guy this was. Exactly the hell she must have been going through. You just know, you know? So let's have her talk about it. Just again, trigger warning. She's going to get very personal. It's a really bad abusive relationship. And I just, I want to give you a proper trigger warning.
Someone who's friends with my Reddit account is claiming to be someone who's friends with my ex-husband and is also claiming that he built my channel from the ground up, which is funny to hear because I could barely get him to take out the fucking trash. I was with this man for 7.5 years because I was young and didn't respect myself enough to leave sooner. He's also one of the most manipulative people I've ever known. While it's very funny, it's not surprising that he's been going around trying to take credit for all of my work, since he would do the exact same thing when we were together and constantly try and inflate his role in my videos to his friends and family because he was unemployed and didn't want them to know that he was spending 6 to 12 hours playing Destiny every single day.
Okay, hold on. First of all, let's go back and read that message.
His role in my videos.
You know exactly the type of guy she's explaining right now. Let's see. How is she bad specifically? This person says very egotistical and willing to basically use and then discard people once they stop being useful. My friend put a lot of work to help her build her channel, and then as soon as it started taking off, she got big. She locked him out of everything and broke up with him so that she could have the channel to herself and rake in all the money and give him nothing. Not saying that's unique to her, but I have an insight because I know the person who she dated and did this, so I know for a fact she did these things to him. So to be clear, they were not married and they were not long-term committed. They were dating. So she doesn't owe him anything unless he signed a legal contract to have access to her channel. She doesn't owe him anything unless you can prove he worked and put in hours and can claim some sort of income. Nothing. Okay. So you can try to twist this any way you want, but it's this idea, like, this is what I'm saying. Be careful who you live with, move in with, build a life with, and claim to be in a long-term relationship with. Because, like, are you in a long-term relationship with this person, or have you just been dating a long time? Do we know the difference, girls? Is this the person I'm committed to, or is this the person I've been dating for too long?
Going around trying to take credit for all of my work, since he would do the exact same thing when we were together and constantly try and inflate his role in my videos to his friends and family because he was unemployed and didn't want them to know that he was spending 6 to 12 hours playing Destiny every single day. According to this Reddit post, my ex would write and edit all of my videos, which is
basically everything. No, you need to tell us exactly what he actually did before we judge that he deserves any of the money. This person says, already explained this. When I say basically everything, it's because the others sitting in front of the camera and reading a script is basically everything. All behind the scenes stuff, editing, sound, lighting, social media, everything. Not even close. She literally used him and gained fame and money off his work. That's not crushed in someone's ego. Also, I do not know what happened between weird for you to assume I don't. Can you actually sit there and say it's okay for someone to use someone to discard them like trash once you've stopped being useful to you? If you actually have the mentality, I feel sorry for you people, or for the people around you, if you honestly don't see that as scummy.
news to me because we haven't been together for over 3 years and my videos haven't changed or suffered the loss of his contributions. There seems to be quite a few things that my ex-husband did do that his friend has not been told about, so I'll just do a quick rapid fire to bring them up to speed. Bought OnlyFans subscriptions with my money behind my back. Had to be begged to help with any household chores for years. Would yell and punch himself while playing video games as I pulled all-nighters, writing and editing. Anytime I brought something up, it would inevitably be my fault or would be because we weren't having sex enough. Routinely coerced me into sex via badgering and guilt tripping. Quit his job once I was making enough money from YouTube to pay the bills so that he could help more around the house, and then proceeded to not help more around the house. Told me he just didn't feel motivated to clean because our place was too small. We moved into a bigger place. He then told me he couldn't clean because the place was too big. Told me I actually should stop asking for help cleaning because if our roles were reversed and he was the breadwinner and I was the one not cleaning enough, it would be misogynistic for him to keep bringing it up. This one has already been hinted at, but would not write my videos, would not edit my videos, but did try to convince me not to go to the Streamies after I was nominated for an award for the first time because it didn't sound like fun, because it didn't involve him. Chased me around the house while screaming at me at the top of his lungs, then the next day called me emotionally volatile for slamming the door while trying to get away from him. When I told him I was unhappy, he told me it was because our physical connection wasn't strong enough, aka I wasn't having sex with him enough. Finally started therapy at my request and immediately weaponized it by saying his therapist said, you guessed it, that we weren't having sex enough. And last but not least, ignored me telling him no and proceeded to sexually assault me as I cried into a pillow. Do we know what it's called when someone says no to having sex with you and you have sex with them anyway? Do we know what the word is for that? Below mediocre men trying to take credit for women's work is nothing new, but the next time he's telling you about what a great, perfect guy he was and what an evil, horrible bitch I was, ask him if he has enough brain cells left in his porn-sick brain to remember raping me. Sorry for the triggering video, but I wanted to make it abundantly clear that I did not succeed because of this man. I succeeded in spite of him. By the way, since you believe in people facing consequences and receiving karma, you might want to get my ex-husband a rabbit's foot.
So
By the way, since you believe
it says, I like to believe karma is real, but sometimes it feels like people just get away with everything and never face the consequences. So there's either this is him pretending to be a friend or it is a friend of him. But either way, whatever story he is telling other people, this is why I say, okay, this is why I say, because honestly, like, I believe her. I know exactly the kind of man she was with. We all know him. Heck, some of us have dated and lived with him. And we know exactly I don't even know what it is, like I'm not a psychologist, but like weaponized incompetence / egotistical narcissism that allows him to try to take credit for her success. Like absolutely dated this person, dated a person just like this, right? And you're just sitting there like, my bro, okay? And, you know, this is what's kind of crazy. And I think this is why I always say, you know, it's no matter who you are, you stay in bad relationships for lots of reasons. It's always because you think one day they'll get better. That's always usually the thought process is like, I can help. Maybe they'll, you know. So I'm glad that she realized like he wasn't going to change and this is who he was. But see how she accommodated him? Okay, I'm making more money. You can stay home to help. Okay, the apartment's too small. I'll get you a new apartment. Okay, like this, like see how she was accommodating him, right? And then he took, we all know it. We all know it. We all have a brother who's like it. We all have a dad who's like it. We all know somebody in our life who's like it. This is a very specific type of person. Probably the hardest person to ever date in your whole life, to be honest. Like this is the leech. This is the mooch. This is the couch potato. This is the weaponized incompetence. This is the, you know, entitlement. This is, you know exactly who this person is. Okay. So if you're in a relationship with this person, if you know this person, if you're friends with this person, you know, if, you know, you can try to get them help, you can try to intervene, you can do a lot of things, but you cannot save them because they will do everything they can to basically make sure you never get like a life raft or a life vest, or that if they're drowning, they're going to pull you down with them and still find a way to somehow survive, right? Like, he sounds like a 1, honestly, or like a 2C maybe, but he sounds just like you just know this person. You know what I mean? Like you just, yeah, the mooch that projects their failures onto you, exactly, chat. It's like you just know this kind of a person. And you just know Chad probably spent her night stressed about this relationship, just thinking about all the ways she could help him, all the ways she could, you know, get him what he needed. And if you know, you know. And so I saw this morning and I was like, oh, fuck. Like that. I didn't know she was in a relationship. I do like Chad. I'm devastated for her. Like, what a stressful situation. And the fact that they've been broken up for 3 years. Do you know what I'm saying? So this was a long time in the making. Like, our girl has moved on. Okay. So the fact that somebody's out here trying to, like, you know, and of course it's the same kind of person. That's what I'm saying. Like, there is going to be receipts for who is bringing in money, who is paying, how the relationship was, how the friends saw the relationship, right? Hopefully. But I wanted to share as a reminder that it doesn't matter who you are. Any of us could be in a bad relationship. And I just promise you, you deserve better than this. You do. Even if you don't believe it, even if he's convincing you otherwise, you deserve better than this. You deserve a partner who shows up. You deserve a partner that really, really does care. And you deserve a partner who doesn't need to be perfect for them to not be, you know, toxic and abusive. Like, you don't deserve a partner who you have to walk around eggshells. You don't need a partner who stresses you out. You don't need a partner who makes you feel bad for trying when they won't, right? And you certainly don't need a partner who makes a lot of excuses too for like why they can't. Oh, I wish I could clean, but I wish I could go to work, but I wish I could finish school, but I wish I could, you know. And that's kind of going to be the theme of today. When we start to initially say like, oh, I can't, it's too hard, all you're doing is giving up instead of saying, how do I make this goal attainable? How do I make it work for me? All you're doing is like, and then you want people to like, you know what I mean? Believe in you. How am I going to believe in you? And every time you go, oh, I can't, it's too hard. Every time there's no solution. And the worst part is like, if you're like me, if you're like Chat Chat, I bet you're trained to start thinking of all the thousands of ways to help people do it. All the ways you can do all of their work for them and say, oh, you could do it this way. You could do, this is why I don't do it for people anymore. If people come to me and say, Britt, that's too hard, I'm not going to do it. I go, okay. Okay. Because I have spent so much of my life trying to get people the tools and do the things. Now, to be fair, I also don't like it when people start recommending stuff to me when I also am making it clear I'm not ready to transition. Like, I'm not ready. And then people are like, oh, here you go, here you go, here you go. And then you're like, bro. So make sure you also can communicate like, I'm not ready. And until you're ready, you know, but say that, say, I'm not ready. Okay, I'm not ready. Do not tell me anything. Do not give me advice. Do not give me resources. I'm not fucking ready. And then when you're ready, okay, but I think that's the problem is I think like he, the guy Chat Chat was with, couldn't, oh, she said ex-husband. Wait, I gotta listen to that again. Was it an ex-husband? Well, he would never admit he wasn't ready.
His Reddit account is claiming to be someone who's friends with my
Wait.
ex-husband and is
Wait, ex-husband. I kept hearing it as ex-boyfriend, ex-husband. That means, oh, that's layered, bro. Wait, hold on. That's layered. This is really a live stream. Hold on. That's layered. Because that means not only did she settle, probably because she was young, right? But she settled with somebody that she legally signed paperwork with. And then she said she used my money to buy OnlyFans. But when you're married, this is interesting. This is why I say like marriage is so serious to me because it's not my money, your money. Now it's our money. So it's like you spent our money. Heck, if my partner spent extra money on bananas, I'd be like, was that in the budget? You know what I mean? Like, did we put bananas in the budget? It's not even the OnlyFans part. It's the banana part. But she said he was porn riddled. He's, okay, video game addicted, porn addicted, won't get a job, lazy as fuck, even though I don't believe in lazy as a construct, neglectful as fuck. Yeah, so she married an abusive asshole who raped her. So, okay, so she married, yeah. I bet when she was younger, she kept thinking, I'll save him. Maybe if I commit to him, maybe if I marry him, maybe if I'm with him. And he saw her as like a meal ticket, like, oh shit. Like, I can't believe he quit his job after she was more successful, which means that like he probably was, so he is going to be this person with every person. Like, this is not because he was married to Chat Chat. He's going to be this way with every person he is with. Unless he does like incredible work. Yeah, this is why I tell you guys, like, be careful who you sign paperwork with, let alone live with. But yeah, because she said my money and it threw me off. My money. Yeah. Yeah, the dilemma is like we do live in a world where people are like, I can't believe my friend left me. Like, I can't believe my best friend like stopped talking to me. I can't believe my siblings stopped talking to me. I can't believe my parents. So the dilemma is you have to discern, am I stopping the relationship with this person or am I putting down boundaries? For what reason? Because that's what makes you stay in bad relationships. It's my mom, it's my dad, it's my brother. And yeah, that could be a really good reason to stay by people. Like, I love my family. I'm never going to stop talking to them, even if I don't talk to them ever again. Like, I'm never going to block them and be estranged. Like, I don't even believe in that language for myself because like, I can't even imagine thinking I'm estranged from my parents. Even if I don't talk to them for the next 25 years, it won't make sense to say it's estranged, right? That's not the word I would use, but because that word means something specific. But I think that might be an accurate word. It just sounds heavier than it feels. Do you know what I mean? It just feels like, oh yeah, we're not talking right now. Versus like we're estranged, which feels more active. Like we don't speak. It's like, oh, I mean, you know, so, Yeah. Yeah, there's no way around it because at the end of the day, she married somebody who was willing to rape her. Like it doesn't matter like what intervention he got. It doesn't matter like what he had given or gotten from her. It doesn't like she could do nothing. You can do nothing against a man who will rape you. Do you know what I'm saying? So like the dilemma here is like, it doesn't matter what like, oh, relationship advice. Like what would we have done? It doesn't matter. All of it is moot the moment you think about the fact that he was willing to pressure her for sex. So none of this matters. Like, I don't care the details of her relationship, who had money, who got married, now it can't matter. It's like if he, God forbid, had killed her. It's like now nothing matters. That like with the Gerhardt story, like him attempting to kill Ariel or like the fact that she's even with us today, it doesn't matter what she did before. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So like when we have these conversations, we have to make sure we don't jump right to, oh, like relationship advice, because how are you going to give relationship advice in a relationship where somebody's being raped? You know what I'm saying? So our thoughts are with Chad. I'm truly devastated for her. I hope she had a great lawyer. I hope she, was able to, keep herself safe, protect her channel. I assume it was always in her name. Like my YouTube channel's in my name. It's not in my partner's name. My partner's name is nowhere on the paperwork. Do we, am I the breadwinner? Am I the sole provider? Like, yes. And yet I don't even think about it as providing because we both provide in different ways. Unlike Chad's husband, mine does clean and cook and get groceries and all the other stuff. But I would say that that's the difference. And I did date my ex. Sounds a lot like this, minus obviously the rape. And I was never physically abused by my ex, but my ex was a lot like Chad's ex-husband, where he was like, I need 50% of your YouTube channel. I want ownership over your channel if I'm going to help you with it. And I was just like, you want ownership over my channel that I build and put all these hours into? Well, you sit home and play games, including Destiny, including, whatever other video games he was playing. So yeah, that's really, you can't do anything with that person. Like, because think about the audacity of, I couldn't even do that to my sister, my brother, my father. You know how many of my friends I've helped with their businesses? You know how many of my friends I've helped with their projects? You know how many of the people in my life I've helped make money? I've never said, give me a cut. That's like if YouTubers collab together and I said, hey, give me a cut of the stream you did because I was in it. No, the idea is that we help each other out to boost each other's stuff. You don't ask for a cut. You don't ask for a cut. It's not only rude, but it's bad faith. That's why I think it's so offensive. It's so bad faith, Now, if you could prove that you were being truly taken advantage of, that'd be absolutely different. But generally, when we love each other, when we love people, we help. You know how many of my friends I've messaged be like, can you please help me with this tech stuff? Like, I do not understand this. And my friends are like, yeah, I got you. Like, I couldn't even imagine that. If my friends couldn't do it, if they were busy, if they weren't available, I would have respected it, of course. But I can't even imagine a world where my friends would be like, hey, can you give me a cut of that since I helped you? You know what I mean? It's just kind of crazy. Discord said Chad said in an older video years ago that she was kind of sheltered in homeschooling when she was young. Hey, relatable girl. Been there, done that. Yeah, wow. Okay, just wanted to bring that to people's awareness since she's going to need a lot of support. I just know she's going to get fucking harassed by men on the internet, and I just know the men on the misogynists on the internet are going to try to tear her apart. Don't let them. Stay strong, support abuse victims, and we stand by Chad. Okay? Shout out to her, truly. I can't even imagine how stressful her DMs must look right now. I just know her comment section's crazy, Oh. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about veganism again. So yesterday and last week on my commentary channel, we've been covering veganism. I'm not a vegan. As you guys know, I'm plant-based. Veganism is a philosophy. Okay, it is not a diet. It has nothing to do with what you eat. And yet I'm going to answer this question, which is sort of about what you eat. Okay, this was on yesterday's video about Billie Eilish. Okay, actually, let's do this too. Here's the original Billie video in case anybody missed it.
Inherently, eating meat is inherently wrong. And then the other thing is, two things cannot coincide. I love animals. I love all animals so much, and I eat meat. You can't do both. Sorry. You can eat meat. Go for it. You can love animals, but you can't do both.
Okay, so that was the context. And then this is the question. I have a question. I was plant-based and considered myself vegan for several years until I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease along with multiple food allergies and intolerances. Diagnosed by a physician with blood work, not a neuropath or mail order test. I tried to remain vegan on a diet that was so restricted, particularly limiting of plant sources or protein like nuts and legumes. But it was simply impossible for me. I eventually introduced poultry and eggs, but continue to avoid dairy and other meats. I have since come to the point where I can rely more on plant proteins, but not entirely without noticing a significant decrease in my function and overall health. For the record, I don't magically think that eating eggs and poultry are morally acceptable while other animal products are not. It's just the best I can do right now. My question is, if we are describing veganism as a belief rather than a practice, this of course encompasses the idea that you can be plant-based but not vegan. But can it also play the other way around? Essentially, can someone still believe in the moral argument for veganism, but still consume some animal products when dealt significant challenges around avoiding them? So veganism is an ethical framework that believes in lowering animal exploitation and avoiding it at all costs. Here's Hank Green with this little clip here. It might be helpful.
The real reason people don't like vegans is because they're like kind of right. It's like, you're right. Like you are ethically superior to me. Like, no doubt. Correct. So people are like, vegans can't shut up about being vegan. I'm like, no, your brain can't shut up about how you're living an unethical lifestyle. And the real reason people.
I don't think Hank is vegan, right? So I think what it is there's like this is why I say like, you have to think individually and you have to think as a collective. Because you are individually experiencing your chronic illnesses, your chronic health. And as a disabled chronic health girly myself, like for me, going vegan and going plant-based, has absolutely helped my fibromyalgia. Like for me, it's absolutely made my life better. For other people, it just won't be the case. With that said, I am not plant-based just for my body. I'm plant-based for a lot of other reasons. Also, it's easier for me to be plant-based because I don't have any real restrictions on my diet, which is different. If you told me you have a restrictive diet because you can't process certain foods and the veganism was really important to you, the question is, because morals are subjective and there's no objective morality that we can know of, I can't make the argument that you can't eat animals, but rather, if it is truly something you believe in, then the question is, to what extent can you directly eradicate your direct participation in this unethical behavior, right? So, it's like, the idea is like, what can you as an individual do? And if you say like, oh, I can do nothing else, I've already done everything, then I can't do anything for you. Then the truth is like, you can't do anything for yourself. That's it. That's the answer. If there's absolutely nothing you can do, then that's your answer. The question is that honest? Now, obviously, a lot of vegans would be like, okay, but like, is that true? I think the question is more or less, the problem is we hear that all the time, right? I hear that from so many people all the time about everything. Oh, I wish I could stop drinking. I just can't. Oh, I wish I could stop texting 16-year-olds. I just can't. Oh, I wish I could stop doing this. I just can't. Like, everyone says that about everything. The question is, only you can really know if it's truly everything you could have done. And in that case, then you shouldn't feel morally shamed or bullied by the world, right? I guess, like, you know what I'm saying? So the question is like, do you need the approval for me or the vegans? So the reason I don't call myself vegan is because I'm not willing to bank on the absolute perfect scenario where someone is vegan. But that doesn't mean that I still don't think being plant-based is correct. Does that make sense? So Discord shared this veganism of philosophy, a way of living which seeks to exclude as far as possible and practicable. I think the definition of veganism is that from the website. I've shared that before. The dilemma is if you talk to vegans, generally, there are no exceptions. They will say honey's not an exception, chicken's not an exception, nothing's the exception. And I think there's something to that as well. I think the issue, again, is like, you don't have to be vegan. So yes, I think logically you can agree veganism is correct and still not make it happen. But then I would ask us, or not ask us, and I would ask us to acknowledge that that's why human beings suck. We acknowledge child marriage is wrong, and yet none of us will talk about our grandmas getting married. We will acknowledge like a lack of consent is wrong, and yet we're still friends with all our homeboys. We will acknowledge like so many things are wrong with the world, and then we'll still engage directly. So the problem is that we have to accept that we suck, and then we have to do something about it. But the truth is we suck. And like, why do we suck? Well, a big part of it is we have no choice because that's just how we've evolved over time. And the second part is that we're not willing to do what it takes to suck less because it's really, really hard, right? It's like really, 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 really hard. Okay. So again, we have to think about being patient with others and ourselves. And then, you know, but we are animals on a planet. So there's only so much we can do, right? Chat says, I'm in the same, not my chat, my comment chat says, I'm in the same boat with chronic illness and food sensitivity. I was advised not to cut out everything I'm sensitive to because my diet would be too restricted. I just cut out the things that affect me the most. I was plant-based for about a year, and even with supplements, I was constantly cold, exhausted, and in more pain. I try to reduce my animal consumption. I like the term reductitarian because it communicates a consciousness of the ethical problem, even if it's not practical. I feel the worst about eating animal and exploiting mammals. Their brains are so similar to ours. They have the same sensitivity to pain. They process fear, form bonds similar to us. It's hard. So again, life is hard. So I just want to say that first and foremost. It's even harder when you're chronically ill. It's even harder when you're disabled. It's even harder when, I will say personally, sometimes I feel like a fraud. And I feel like I never feel like I'm sick enough. Does that make sense? Sometimes I feel like, damn, am I not sick enough? Am I not autistic enough? Am I not this enough? Because every time someone tells me, Brittany, I can't do this, I'm this, I go, well, I'm that. And then I go, okay, we must be experiencing something different. So what I would implore you to do is ask yourself, what is the actual thing that's keeping you from doing something? And it might not be your diagnosis. It might actually be something specific. You might say, oh, I can't do that, I'm autistic. But lots of autistic people do that. So the question is it your autism or is it your specific tongue, mouth, palate, autism, brain? So like, I understand, right? Because I do not think just because it works for me, it will work for you. I do not think that. I think that's fucking bullshit, right? I acknowledge you are so unique. You are such an individual that you really have a reason why. So the question is, why does this work for me, but not for you? Not me, Brittany, but like other people. So that's how I problem solve, right? I problem solve and I tell myself, okay, Brittany, we want to be plant-based. How do we make that work with all of our restrictions? That's how I think. And if you go, it's impossible, I can't do it. The question is, why is it impossible? Because now you've already said it's impossible. Okay, so now you have to tell yourself, why is it impossible? It's not, and there is a reason. There is a reason. The question is, what is that reason, right? Somebody here says, I can empathize. I dealt with bad skin issues and had to avoid gluten, yeast, and sugar for a few months on a very restrictive diet to do with skin issues. It looked like eczema and felt like a sunburn. It would get bad when I would sweat. A lot of vegan meats have gluten in them, I think. The neuropath I went to included meat in the diet plan, and I relied on eggs and fish. She even said I couldn't have a lot of carbs like beans and chickpeas, which I rely on often. It was hell. Yeah, so that's the thing too, is like, the problem is that because it's so individualistic, the person you're working with is also individualistic. So as an example, when I was getting diagnosed with my fibromyalgia, I was like so lethargic, I literally thought I was dying. I was like, oh, fuck, this is it, bro. I was so skinny. I was so underweight. I was crawling to the bathroom. Like I had to crawl on my hands and knees to get places. I was not streaming. I was basically not working. I was so sick. And I was like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with something bad is happening. And what's worse is I would call my mom and be like, Mom, do we have a family history of this, And she'd be like, I don't want to talk about this. You're fine. Nothing's wrong with you. She was so scared I was sick. She didn't even want to hear about it. How crazy is that? I talked to friends and they were so busy worrying that I was sick. They would make that about themselves. It was like such a stressful time. Then I overpaid this nutritionist to work with her. That was definitely overpaying. But she was like, don't work out. I talked to my doctors. They're like, don't work out, just rest. Well, fibromyalgia is a workout resistant illness, and actually working out and moving your body actually helps. So as long as I maintain working out once a week, I'm basically fine. But because I was told by every professional not to work out, I was actually hurting myself more. So the irony is you have to wait till you find. Now, when I got diagnosed by my rheumatologist with fibromyalgia, he told me to start working out. Not aggressively, not too hard, but he told me to start working out and he gave me the workout routine to do. Okay. So yes, once I got the diagnosis, so when I tell you like the dilemma with figuring out your health is that even the professionals will tell you to do an elimination diet and then introduce things slowly without understanding that there's also a part of it like physical health that matters, like working out, right? So again, veganism has nothing to do with what you're eating. So don't worry about it from that perspective. Don't be vegan. Fuck vegans. Unless you want to be vegan, then what you're saying is I would like to prescribe to an ethical framework in which I say I believe and prioritize. Stop wanting to be vegan if you can't be vegan, right? Instead, be plant-based. Instead, be harm reductionist. Instead, just eat what you want within reason. Instead, because what you're doing with this label is you're saying, I want to be a part of a group. And I'm saying, what does the group have to do with your personal philosophy unless you identify with the group? You know what I'm saying? Vegan as a label is not for you. It's for other people. It might feel like it's for you, but it's not. It's so you can communicate to other people. So I'm saying, instead of stressing about like, oh, I want to be vegan, I want to be vegan. If you want to be vegan, you will find a way. Or you will have to admit to yourself, it doesn't make sense to be vegan. But I do believe you will find a way, right? If you cannot find a way to be vegan in a way that, okay, it's like with anything else, I think in life, which is why I'm very careful about what I identify as. It's why I'm very careful with my labels, because labels are meant to tell some people about something about you. That's why I don't call myself vegan, right? It's why I don't, I don't call myself a Catholic. Okay, I'm not Catholic. I don't want to hang out with Catholics. Like even when people go, oh, are you a former Catholic though? I'm like, I left the church at 18. Always a Catholic, once a Catholic, always a Catholic. Oh, you're confirmed, you're a Catholic. I'm not a Catholic. It really annoys me that my Catholic family tells their kids, oh, Auntie Brittany is Catholic because she was confirmed. I'm not a Catholic. But to them, the terminology is I'm not a practicing Catholic. You know? And I'm saying there are vegans who are vegan. There are vegans who are vegan. And they deserve to have that construct and be it what they want it to be, which is no animal exploitation ever, especially as an individual. So they're vegan. And that includes what they're wearing, how they're shopping, and we'll go over this in a second. So let them be vegan. I don't know why people need to be vegan if they're not vegan, right? Which is why I don't say I'm vegan. Now, of course, you might say, but Brittany, they keep saying we ought to be vegan. So they're making a prescription. Now that's the second part of it. Now they're making a prescription. You ought to be vegan. And now the responsibility doesn't fall on you, the non-vegan. It falls on the vegan to explain why people ought to be vegan, which is why I don't make prescriptions. Right? Because I could never ethically at this point in my life say you ought to be vegan. Because I don't know why I would make that prescription. Because there are other ways to do exactly what veganism does and still not call yourself vegan. Like I'm technically doing it. I'm cruelty-free and plant-based. And basically that's vegan. Except without the responsibility or the group title of vegan. But I'm doing the same thing. Do you know what I'm saying? In practice, it's the same thing. Okay, I want to show you something. When people say, I'm going to show you one of my favorite vegan creators. This is Andrew. And Andrew creates like delicious vegan food. And I understand. You might feel like, Brittany, I can't even eat this. Like I can't even eat most of these things. So what you're doing right now is you're saying you can't eat what 99% of the planet eats. Do you know what I'm saying? And I meet way too many people who go, oh, I can't be vegan in my diet. You can't eat what 99% of the world eats? And don't mention vegan processed food to me. 99% of the time, my store doesn't even have processed vegan food for me to buy. Because I walk to the store and I don't go to the big stores because they're too far away. Now, if I went to those stores, it'd be different. But I rarely even have access to frozen vegan food. I mostly just eat salads, beans, and I know a lot of people don't only eat beans, or vegetables. Listen, I know a lot of grown-up neurodivergents who don't eat vegetables. With peace and love, you guys got to figure it out. Okay? Not even if you're vegan, just for the sake of your tummy, for the sake of your gut. You got to figure it out. But yes, I understand neurodivergent people. It's better that you eat no matter what. And that's the thing, guys. None of this matters. You're worm food in the making. You're going to die. If it matters to you, make it happen. If it doesn't matter to you, fuck it. But don't tell me you care and you're not going to do anything about it. Don't tell yourself, oh, this really matters to me. And you're like, I'm not going to eat broccoli. Like, guys, please be serious. There's genocides happening. You know what I mean? Like, people are dying, Kim. So don't sit here and tell me, oh, man, I wish I could eat a broccoli, but I just think it's icky. Like, what are you talking? Are you 40? Not? Are you 40? Are you 50? Are you an adult? Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, at some point, please be serious. Like, please be serious. And then at some point, be compassionate to yourself as well. Like be compassionate to yourself, but don't, you know what I'm saying? Okay. If you are truly, really suffering from the most restrictive, like medical care, like that's even if the world went plant-based, except for those people, it wouldn't be at the numbers we're doing it. The dilemma is like, you know when people needed service dogs and then people started getting like fake certificates for service dogs or whatever? Okay. It's like, do you all have an actual service dog or are you guys pretending to have a service dog? It's like, just get a dog, right? I think that's how it is going to be with vegan. Let's say the world was vegan. Let's say the government mandated everyone be vegan. 99% of the population would end up, maybe 50%, whatever, would create an excuse about how their medical health is the worst and they can't be vegan. But I'm saying don't be vegan unless you want to. No one is holding a gun to your head. Nobody is forcing you to be vegan. Does that make sense? I'm trying to be empathetic here. But you have to get out of your own head because no one's telling you to be vegan. And if they are, you don't have to listen to them. They're the most hated group on the planet. So you can hate them with everybody else. You don't have to be vegan. The question is, if it's eating you up inside to be vegan, then I promise you there is a way. I just don't know what it is because I don't know your personal medical problems, right? Chad says, I truthfully think one of the biggest barriers to people eating vegetables is just that they don't know how to properly cook them or season them in a way that is appealing. Oh, 100%. Listen, I've been eating a lot of asparagus and asparagus is very sensitive. If you cook it too much, it gets really mushy and stringy. If you cook it too little, it's too crunchy. You have to get it right perfect. It takes me a long time to learn my oven, to learn the spices, to learn the right, and I do eat it anyways. Even if I make it badly, I usually just eat it. But again, it's like stuff like that, right? And so again, when we have these conversations, yes, there's a learning part of eating, which by the way, is usually why people don't want to go vegan because most people are never taught to cook. Their parents didn't teach them and they get fast food, restaurant food, or frozen food. And I'm saying you're not a bad person for doing those things. I am not saying you are an evil or bad person for doing those things. And I'm saying don't lie to my fucking face that you can't eat vegan or you can't eat plant-based. Because again, veganism is not a diet. Okay? Don't lie to my fucking face. It's like your boyfriend. Oh, I was going to take out the trash, but like the lock was, and I couldn't. And I literally like, okay, don't lie to me. Just say you didn't want to take out the trash. Do you know what I mean? Don't lie to yourself either. Just say you didn't want to take out the trash. If you genuinely though have a life-threatening illness and you cannot cook any of this delicious food, you literally cannot do it. Okay, girly, you are a rare case and you're valid and I believe you. But don't lie to me. Okay, because you know this shit looks good. You know this looks fucking good, bro. Come on now. You're going to look at this and be like, I don't know. I don't want it. What do you mean? Do you not eat real food? Look at this. Does any of this actually look disgusting? Come on now. How could you even look at this and be like, I don't think so? What? I want to eat every single thing this man posts. I'm going to share his TikTok. Every single thing this man posts, I'm like, give it to me. Give it to me. Okay, next video. Let's talk about the argumentation about veganism. Okay, so are we good on that point? The point I'm trying to make there is be kind to yourself, love yourself, but don't lie to yourself. And if you are truly struggling, I respect you. I think you deserve to be healthy. And whatever you and your doctors say, I trust you. Okay? That's it. Right? Jess says, you know what? This conversation has popped a bubble for me. I'm not going to say I can't be vegan anymore. I'm just going to say I don't want to be vegan with my eating disorder history. There you go, girl. There you go. Own it. Be strong in your convictions. And I respect that. I respect that. Love that. Love that. Oh, by the way, none of my friends have gone plant-based or vegan. My partner is not plant-based or vegan. Me going on this journey has nothing to do with anybody else in my life. Somebody asked me that in my comment section before we go on to argumentation. Somebody did ask me that. I am not asking my partner to go vegan or plant-based. I would never make that request of them. I couldn't imagine making that request of them, I'll say. But I am the only person in my life that's plant-based. Everyone is supportive, but nobody is joining me on this journey. So just remember, it's not about other people. It's about you. My decision has nothing to do with other human beings, because if none of you fucking existed, I would still go plant-based. Me going plant-based is about Brittany. It is not about any of you. Remember that. Okay, first argumentation. Here we go.
I'm a meat eater who agrees with Billie Eilish's hot take that you can't simultaneously be a meat eater and an animal lover. And to be honest, I don't understand why this is such a hot take, because to me it just seems quite logical. And the people who I've seen agreeing with this are vegans, which I guess like makes sense. And people who I've seen disagreeing with this are people who eat meat. And assuming that the reason for this isn't because the argument is illogical, but because people don't want to take accountability for that. But yeah, like I like eating steak, so I can't be out here saying I like cows, and therefore I can't say I like animals, because cows come under the umbrella term animals. I like dogs, and I wouldn't eat a dog, but I can't be like I like cows because I'm eating them. And I know that a lot of people are criticizing this by being like, oh, it's ignorant, like for health reasons, but like I actually wanted to be vegan when I went to uni. So when I was like 13, I was pescatarian, and I was like, I'll just like transition to like vegetarian and then vegan, because I can't lie, I did love sushi. So I was like, I'll be pescatarian. And I was pescatarian for like 4 years. And then I had this incident where I fainted, but I like low-key thought it was a near like death experience. And I had to go to hospital, like ambulance, and I was like, oh my God, I never want to feel that way again. I was really scared, and they found out it was because like my iron levels were so low. And so then I was like, okay, I'm just going to start eating meat. Like that's the easiest thing I can do here. And I'm sure like there are ways to like prevent anemia, like by not eating meat.
I take iron supplements.
I also know that a lot of those methods are quite expensive, like supplements that people take. And that is also like the modern vegan diet, which I feel like is a lot more expensive. India, for example, is subcontinent, like people don't eat meat. Like a lot of people are vegetarian there. So I don't know too much about like the correlation between like diet and health and medical, because I don't have that background. Just wanted to bring in some personal context into like someone who's actually experienced like a health.
I really like what she said about like, can we say we like this kind of animal if we eat this animal? Like I really like cats. I'm not gonna eat a cat. Even when I was a meat eater who would try anything, I just really could not bring myself to eat a dog or a cat. I couldn't do it. And it's not just because of the way that I was raised. I also didn't want to eat horse. I wasn't interested in eating like exotic birds. I didn't want to eat a dolphin. I didn't want to eat whale. Like I didn't want to, there was just like a lot of different animals. I was like, I'm not going to eat one of those. You know what I mean? And then there were some animals that I was like, I'll eat that for sure. I'll eat that. Give it to me. Now I want to say, because chat said, how do you and your partner deal with that? I can't imagine buying groceries for 2 completely diets. So I'm almost done editing the video for members about what I eat in a week, but we've never shared groceries. Because even when I was a meat eater, I would eat like chicken wings every day or pastas or lasagnas or something. My partner and I have never eaten the same foods. So I don't know what that means, right? Because we each get our own budget a week and we each get our own groceries. I mean, he does all the shopping, but I get my own budget, he gets his own budget, and we each buy whatever we want with our budget. So that doesn't mean anything to me, right? You said buying groceries for 2 and completely different diets. Yeah, like we've never eaten the same things, even when we were both meat eaters. We're neurodivergent. We're really fucking autistic. We have very different diets, and we eat almost the same meals every day, and they're very different. Okay, next video.
You love animals or claim that you care about animals. You cannot say you love animals or claim that you care about animals and eat meat, is a recent claim that was recently said by Billie Eilish herself because she's a vegan. Now, whether you agree with what she said or whether you like Billie Eilish is a completely different story, because at first glance, what she said here is pretty convincing. But the second you actually pick it apart, you realize that this argument is rooted completely in fucking privilege. Because I'm so sorry to tell you, but plant-based alternatives in UK supermarkets, for example, are known to be more expensive than meat. In fact, ignore everything that I'm saying. Let's just go to the scholarly contributions. One study, for example, found that plant-based products in the UK cost £1, £2 per 100 grams.
Right. That's because you're buying plant-based items versus chickpeas, bananas, oranges, like salads, lettuce, arugula, pastas. Like if you buy an item that is convenient for you to eat, you will get a surcharge. So if you're buying plant-based items that they've made convenient for you to eat, they will charge you. That's all it is. It's not because it's plant-based, it's more expensive. It's that it's more convenient for you. And it's cost more for them to produce because most of the world isn't plant-based. If most of the world was plant-based, they would be cheaper.
Grams more versus the 85 pence for meat. In fact, some meat-free and dairy-free products are up to 18% more expensive, and in some cases, vegan alternatives can be double the price of meat. And so for most people, especially during a cost of living crisis, Billy, I'm so sorry to tell you, but meat is the more accessible, affordable, and just cheaper and familiar option.
So again, vegans are not making a what you eat argument. They're making the justification for what you eat argument. So just because it's cheaper to eat chicken doesn't mean it's more ethical to eat it, because what you're doing is you're centering human well-being over any other living well-being. So though I can hear that sentiment from a person who thinks human beings matter more than anything, sure. And yet, and I think this coincides with things that it's hard for people to understand, but it's like, it is, again, when people say like, I need this to survive, the question requires the adults in the room to really question that idea of need, not children, not young people, but the adults in the room. Because there are grown men who get on the internet and say, I need to have sex twice a week or I'm going to cheat on my wife. Are you sure about that? Are you sure you need sex twice a week or you're going to cheat on your wife? Do you know what I'm saying? They really think I need it though. I need it. Do you need it, Brad? Do you need it, Jason? And so when people sit there and go, I need to kill this animal to eat, do you? That's all we're saying is like, do you, or do you just want to? Just say you want to. What's wrong with saying I want to eat chicken versus I need to eat chicken? The need is questionable, right?
For the average person. Also, if you're a Billie Eilish stan and you're upset with what I'm saying, spoiler alert, not everyone is in the United Goddamn States. Try telling a random family in Uganda that they are morally inept for eating what's more readily available to them. Many parts of the world outside of your little bubble of America.
Well, that's the thing, girlies. That's what subjective values are. She's allowed to think you're less ethical for any reason whatsoever. That's what subjective morals are. I'm allowed to say, I think someone is bad if they don't do this. That's what subjective morals are, subjective ethics. Like Billie is sharing her perspective on what she thinks. You're sharing yours, but they're subjective based off of who you are. Neither of you are making an objective argument.
Food is not just a matter of lifestyle or aesthetics. It's literal survival and culture. Loving animals is
And
not—
by the way, I like Kimberly's TikToks. I usually watch her TikToks too. So she's just passionate, but like she's, I get where she's coming from. I watch her TikToks when they come across my feed.
a single moral checkbox. It's not an all or nothing. Otherwise, you would literally condemn animals who eat each other in the wild out of survival. So by you saying that you eat meat so you don't care about animals completely disregards culture, economics, accessibility, affordability, basically everything. But then again, should I really be surprised? So no, eating meat is not some sort of moral failure, and acting as if it's that simple is literally ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not that simple, but I also think Billie's allowed to hold that opinion, and it makes a lot of sense. Here's another girly that I watch, and this is a cool video because this is about what she buys. Sneakers.
You might like to see it. So many shoes are made of leather, including athletic ones. Since I don't wear leather, I have 3 ways of checking to see if a sneaker's for me. First thing I check is price. $185 definitely implies leather. Next is smell. Leather has a scent to it, but I'm not smelling anything here. The third and most reliable check is to look at the ingredients. This tag confirms that Solomon's XT Whispers are leather-free. If you're a vegan who's on the market for a new pair of sneakers, I'm on my 3rd pair of Solomons, and I absolutely love them.
So really good example of how veganism is also cruelty-free. So it's about any exploitation of animals, including what you're wearing. I just want to share that vegan sneaker video with you in case you're interested in vegan sneakers. But that's why I think that's interesting, right? Like we forget veganism is not what you eat. It's not a diet. It's about ethical consumption, and it's an anti-exploitation of animals. And that includes what you're wearing, right? I really, really think this distinction is very, very important, okay? Next video.
Billie Eilish on this one. You cannot love animals and be okay.
Oh, wait, pause. Chad asked about getting separate diets and eating differently. Guys, you listen to me when I say, I'm going to say this 1,000 times till you get so annoyed you unsubscribe. You get to have a custom life. You get to have a custom life. You get to customize your life. You get to customize your life. My partner and I customize our life. Okay? We're the only people who can control what our day looks like. Customize your life. My partner does the grocery shopping. We each cook our own meals because we like the way we cook our own food. We each have our own preferences for food. I am not going to eat what he's eating just because he's my husband. My mom said that to me once. She goes, you guys need to eat the same food. I go, you need to mind your business. I'm an adult. I did not get married and sign up to be in a cage where I needed to eat what my partner was eating. God bless. I get to eat exactly what I want every day. Don't ask me questions. Okay? So when you have it in your head, oh no, I have to shop for 2 different people, all I'm hearing is, oh my God, I don't get a choice today. Girl, you're an adult. You're like a kid with money at a store. You get to buy anything you want. That's kind of the perk of being an adult. You're a kid with money. Why, what do you want to buy? You know what I mean? What do you want to eat today? I get to wake up every day and say, what do I want to eat today? What do I want to eat today? You know what I'm saying? So like, this whole oh, you have to eat the same thing and oh, you have to. I don't know why you're taking away options. Now, if you say, oh, but it's exhausting buying 2 different foods for different people, you just never done it before. Because no, it's not. You're still at the store. You just have to. How is it more exhausting to be like, I want oranges and he wants apples? What exhausting just happened? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what exhausting just happened? Like, he wanted apples and I wanted oranges. That's all you're doing. He wants this milk. I want this milk. Okay. Because we have preferences. Even if we both like chocolate bars, we like different chocolate bars. You're still getting 2 chocolate bars. I mean, do you guys eat literally the same food as everybody else in your family? Do none of you have preferences? Think about it like that. You're free to have preferences and to make choices. You're free. Give yourself a celebratory. Now, cooking 2 different dishes would be different. That would be a lot of work. Unless you're the stay-at-home partner, then I don't want to hear you. If you're the stay-at-home partner, you better be making 5 meals a day if that's the case. The only reason my partner doesn't cook my food is because I prefer to cook my food. But if I needed him to, he would. Because he works from home. He is the laborer of the house. No way am I working 80 hours a week just to hear you go, oh, I don't want to cook 2 meals a day. Girl, you better cook 5 meals a day if I need you to. Do you know what I'm saying? Ain't no way I'm putting this much work into paying our bills. And then you're going to be like, I don't want to cook rice twice today. You're not only going to cook it twice. You're going to go to the store twice if I need it. We try not to. We try not to exhaust each other. We try not to take advantage of each other, obviously. But that's what you signed up for. We signed up for a life. We're like, you're in charge of and yes, sometimes my partner will go to the store as many times a day as we need if we forget something. They are amazing. They will literally go to the store. If I came home, if sometimes the other day I decided to do grocery shopping because I was like, oh, I really want to do it. Okay. So I got home and I was like, I forgot something. He's like, I got it. He put on his clothes and went right to the store. And I was like, no, it's okay. And he's like, it's fine. I'm going. And then he got it. And I was like, love that. That's it. Okay. The point is that we're adults. We have a custom life. We do what we need to do. Give yourself the freedom to get to pick and be excited about it, right? Okay.
With eating them at the same time. Those 2 things just don't exist unless it's for survival. But in today's day and age, we aren't just eating to survive anymore. We're eating to thrive. We've got everything at our fingertips. So if you really, really call yourself an animal lover and are okay with eating them and supporting a system that literally destroys them, makes them suffer, brings them pain, tortures them, then that in my head doesn't make sense to me. A matter of fact, this was actually one of the main reasons why I pivoted away from eating animals and more towards plants when I started my journey. It was because of this one moment and this one day where I remember I saw a hurt bird in the middle of the road. I stopped my car, I went over, I really wanted to help it and I was just hoping it was okay. It looked like it had hurt its wing. I don't know if it was broken or not, but I remember feeling so sorry for that little thing and really wanting it to be okay. I went along about my day, hoping it would be all right, and then I caught myself at dinner with 6 chicken wings and chips, thinking, how does this make any sense? Earlier, I would have done anything to help that little bird. But now here I am literally eating its body parts for dinner. For what? Just for 10 minutes of pleasure when I can do the exact same thing with plants? Like, I don't need to go and eat meat for survival. When you gotta survive, do what you gotta do, yeah? But that's not the case for 80% of us. So it just instilled this feeling inside of me which was very contradictory to who I thought I was. Morally, I like to think I'm a good human being, and I do try and do good. And I care for animals and all living things. I don't want them to suffer unnecessarily. So why on earth would I contribute towards a system that literally makes them suffer? And why on earth would I want to eat them when I can literally eat the exact same thing with plants and get the exact same satisfaction and pleasure without causing harm and suffering? So
exactly, right? Chet says plants are alive too, so all diets are harm reduction. Vegans aren't vegan because plants are alive or not alive. They're about sentience and nerves and feeling pain, right? An awareness of consciousness. Plants are alive, like a fetus is alive, but we're arguing consciousness, okay? Most of us who are pro-abortion are pro-abortion because we think the cells haven't formed enough of a consciousness of a child to not preserve the life of the child. Even though it's a human being in making, the reason we're pro-choice is because we don't think you're aborting a baby yet. It hasn't turned into a baby yet. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be very careful. We all have to be very careful to recognize we are all alive. I mean, there's bacteria everywhere, right? There's like all of this living life around us. Everything is alive. The question is, do we know we are also living within relationship to these things, right? So again, like when we have a conversation about like when abortion, when life, who this, what pain, okay? No, chat said don't plants scream when they are hurt. They don't scream when they're hurt. I just read an article about this because I am getting a little annoyed at the clickbait, even from science articles. They do not scream. They do not have vocal cords. They let out a gas, which if we could hear would emit what you call a scream. So it's very frustrating to me when science articles are clickbaiting people because I just saw that one on my feed and I was like, they do not scream. They don't have vocal cords. And I clicked on the article. It is not a scream. Okay, so I think that's the dilemma we're having is like, call it what you want to call it, but that's not what's happening. And then when you do this enough, guys, this is why I love philosophy. Just like lock in with me. If you do this, there's no reason not to rape a child. If you are not careful with how you logic, you will rape children because you are doing this thing that allows you to jump through hoops with what you call things, which then goes, well, they're consenting. They have enough information, right? Actually, I think children can consent to marrying a 50-year-old because you're doing this thing that says consent just means yes, right? Well, the kid said yes. Consent. No. You need to take everything into consideration, every detail of the circumstance, every nuance of the situation to bring down the most amount of harm within reason. We cannot protect children in the world if we keep playing games about, well, yes means yes. Yes means yes. And it's like, no, yes does not mean yes. Yes, with the right situation and context means yes. So children, this is why people in my own family will sit there and say, well, didn't they say yes? They were 10. They were 10. Well, didn't they say yes? Don't make me scream at you. They were 10. 10. That's what I'm saying. Be very careful. This is why I love philosophy, though. This is why I love these conversations. You can, and this is, a lot of debate bros will say this. A lot of debate bros will say, look, if you can debate me, if you can debate so well that you justify like Nazism, then Nazism wins. I don't believe that. Just because the argument is better for Nazism doesn't mean it's better. That's why we have to be very careful about having conversations about like what is and is, what we should do, because this is the problem. We live in a world with very evil fucking people, and very evil fucking people love to create loopholes. But also what's worst is really good people engage in really fucked up things because, quote, they can't do better. Right? And this coincides with Amazon and billionaires exploiting that very thing inside of you. The very thing inside of you that says, I can't go vegan, it's inconvenient, is a thing that billionaires use to exploit you to become billionaires. Because they go, you can't live without a house, can't live without one-day delivery, can't live without your, your Spotify, can't live without this. And you go, yeah, I can't live without this. Yeah, you're right. I need this. And they go, yeah, you do, right? You definitely need it. Like, you definitely need it. You definitely need 2 houses. You definitely need 4 cars. You definitely need all these things, right? And then they exploit that vulnerability in your own logic. And then boom, you are also responsible for why billionaires are billionaires. That's why I'm saying you can't escape the responsibility. You know what I mean? You can't escape the responsibility of creating the world that we live in. But I'm saying if you don't want to be exploited, then you have to start thinking about exploitation in every way that you engage with it as well. And that might include consuming animal products, because only exploitation creates what 99% of people are consuming meat-wise. Most of the world is eating exploited meat and exploited dairy. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, any questions? Any questions? Let's see. I don't see any questions. Let me see. Let me see. Wait, chat says I wasn't trying to trigger. I was just trying to build. Listen, I'm not triggered. Sometimes this is what I mean. Like, if I was in a debate bubble, this would be normal, because this is what debate does. Like, there's a philosophy meme in the Discord I always post where it's like, welcome to Philosophy Club. And it's just two guys yelling at each other from that TV show. That's just what it is. This is serious. So it's not, nobody's triggered. I'm not upset. I'm passionate, right? I'm excited. If anything, I'm stoked. But then you have to engage with me because it's serious, right? We're not in like a kindergarten class like, teehee, Jason, what do you think the sun is for? You're adults. This is an adult conversation. You are adults. So everything you say isn't just a teehee, I think flowers are pretty. It's not like, we're dead serious, bro. We're like future politicians, future leaders, future parents, future everything. So no, it's like, it's serious. It is just a stream, but it's also pretty serious. We're talking about real lives here. And you know what? Like, this might change your life. You might come away from this stream and change the trajectory for your whole family for the next 100 years because you had a realization, right? So again, share your opinions. We're all just sharing. And also, okay, check out this video. What do you guys think about this? Check out the video in the bottom corner, or the bottom left corner. He's got an octopus on his head and he's making a video.
So then I go to put the octopus on my head, and the octopus that I bought was like, it was not clean at all. Like, it had been like sitting in a sink for like a long time, right? I get to the beach, bro. I'm putting the octopus on my head. Bro, this shit starts like, as I get out the water, bro, like the octopus is like leaking like fluids onto my face and shit. And it's making my eyes sting a lot. My eyes are stinging. My eyes are hurting, okay? So I take the octopus off. I put it on the ground. I go in the water. And I go into the water that's contaminated. And I open my eyes underwater, alright? So I'm swimming underwater, opening my eyes. So I don't know whether the octopus is what gave... Because I got an eye infection to start it all off, okay? I had a really inflated eye. I don't know if it was from opening my eyes in the water or from the octopus on my head. But like, I was opening my eyes underwater and that shit was fucking me up, alright?
This man was doing a cosplay of the character The Deep, went to a shady seafood market, bought an octopus, put it on his head, got in the ocean, had the juices dripping all over him, and now he got octopus eggs in his eye. Although I still don't agree with using animals as props, I really got mad at first because I thought the octopus was alive, then I realized quickly it wasn't. The tentacles were stiff as fuck, none of them are curly, and to be honest, if it was alive, it probably would have mangled this nigga's face off. He says while filming a video, he didn't realize that the octopus still had his bodily fluids inside of it, and they started leaking all over him. Now he was at the Santa Monica Beach, Santa Monica Bay, somewhere Seneca. Allegedly, the Santa Monica Beach is contaminated and you're not supposed to open your eyes under there. Yet, he put an octopus on his head. His eyes were stinging because of bodily fluid, so he went underwater and opened his eyes. Whether it's the water or whether it's the octopus, either way, I think he deserved it. There's a right and there's a...
Listen. Deserved it's crazy. Hold on. So, how many of you were disturbed by the use of the octopus's dead corpse, right? I think this is a now deleted video. Oh no, I think this is a now deleted video from Belle Delphine's channel. But she has this whole like octopus thing she does, which is so fucking weird. Where she like has the octopus as a friend. She like buys the octopus and then like hangs out with the octopus and like plays with it. And people were really like disturbed. Here's the thing. Buying an already dead octopus and then playing with its body it looks disturbing, but I can't actually imagine that it's less disturbing than also like eating a whole chicken a day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all weird. Like, it's all fucking weird. Like, everyone is weird. Everyone's being weird. You know what I mean? And also, like, I like that that's what's upsetting to people and not the whole industry. You know what I'm saying? Like, not the whole industry as a whole. I think that's the confusing part with all of this. Okay? Now, let me show you this. This is what really started, honestly, my plant-based journey in a real way. Is I used to eat a lot of oxtail. And then, guys, until I saw this video, I did not realize it was oxtail. Like, I just thought that's what it was called. I didn't know it was literally a tail.
Yeah.
Did you see that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to eat so much. Chesa, what did you think oxtail was? I don't know, girl. The foot? I don't know. I don't fucking know. That's why it's even funnier, because I'm like, what did I think it was? I didn't think it was a cute tail. You know what I mean? I didn't think it was like a cute tail. I don't know. You know, how am I supposed to know what I thought it was? I don't know. Let's watch the end. Look at that. I mean, you know what I mean? I bet it tastes really good. I bet it tastes great. But I was like, wait, it's an oxtail. I did not process that. But girl, I've had eyeballs, feet. I've had, you know, balls. I've had all types of things. I knew what it was. But for some reason, oxtail really got me. Oxtail really made me feel a way where I was like, oh no, it's a cute little tail. Oh, it's a cute little tail. Okay, let me show you this. Hold on, I gotta move through the copyright really fast. So I watch a lot of MasterChef, and I'm on MasterChef Australia. And MasterChef Australia is so much fun. It's so many episodes. It's really interesting. And they're asked to make like their dream meal, like something that's like their ideal restaurant food, like something they really want served in their restaurant. Okay, hold on, let me get you this. Hold on, I gotta move through copyright. Give me a second, please hold. Think about your favorite pet animals. Think about eating them. Okay, hold on. This one right here. Okay, ready? This man. Okay, trigger warning. I'm going to show you animals, guys. Actually, you know what's obnoxious is the fact that I even have to trigger warning you. Because if you eat meat, I don't think you deserve a trigger warning. I think only vegans deserve a trigger warning. I think if you eat meat, I shouldn't have to trigger warn you. I do. I actually really do believe that. Here, this is what he made. He made a whole pig's face for his main meal. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, look at this pig's face. So his dream restaurant is like a beer and brats restaurant, like a beer and food restaurant. So he wants to serve this as his main dish where it's half a face of a pig. So for every, let's say a table of two orders one half of a pig head. That means for each pig serves 4 people food, right? And let's say he's got 60 people coming to the restaurant. 30 pigs have to die for you to eat one meal so you can get one half of a face. You know? Wait, Chad said it's like buffalo wings? Like, you think it's just a cute name for it, but it's a literal tail? Buffalo wings? What? No, it's an unbreaded chicken wing. Wait, buffalo wings. Wait, no, buffalo wings, it says is a chicken wing. It's just a chicken wing, right? Could buffalo wings be something else? Those are chicken wings. Oh, you were comparing the nickname. Okay, I thought there was like a thing called a buffalo wing. I was like, buffalo, is there a buffalo wing somewhere? I didn't get. Okay. So now, okay. Ooh, here, we just watched a bunch of dead animals. Okay, this is plant-based food.
You one thing.
If I could only teach you one thing as a vegan Jamaican, it would be how to make saucy, crispy, and marinated barbecue jerk tofu that you can enjoy so many ways with the simplest method to make it.
It's really trying not to cry right now when I tell you that these flavors take me right back to Jamaica. So good.
As always, the most important step is to press your tofu because it releases that much liquid, which leaves lots of space to soak up tons of flavor. Next, tear your tofu, don't cube it. All those crackly pieces give you the best crisp. Now, or marinade. I love using bouillon paste with some water and then pouring all of that over to give our tofu the best base. We're also going to add some poultry seasoning. I recommend using one with no salt since our veggie broth and jerk add salt already. Stirring that together lightly and then going in with some barbecue seasoning. Stir everything together gently and then you're going to let that marinate for at least...
Now listen to me when I say this. Tofu tastes nothing like chicken or beef or anything else. It doesn't. And neither does jackfruit. Everyone's always like jackfruit tastes like chicken. It doesn't. They're lying to you. It tastes like artichoke. Jackfruit is good if you like artichoke. I just fried it the other day and put it on top of my spaghetti. Like, jackfruit is delicious, but it tastes nothing like chicken.
30 minutes until you see all of that liquid soak up. Now, our crispy queen or cornstarch, this is the key to the best texture and crispy edges. And you want to toss this together until it's nice and incorporated, and look how pretty and glossy that look. Heat up a little bit of oil in a pan and then we're just going to crisp up our tofu. You can also do this in the air fryer, 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes, shake it halfway, which is now my go-to method. We're going to add our crispy tofu to a bowl, and then while it's still hot, we're going to add over our barbecue sauce. Just use your favorite one, and then we're also going to add our jerk seasoning. The #1 recipe on Google is mine, and it's on my website, but I wanted to show you this one because it's easy to find internationally. I feel like jerk and barbecue is the perfect combination because you really get that spice and some sweetness to balance it out. You can enjoy this barbecue jerk tofu in so many different ways. I made it on pizza. I've added browning for
see? Ooh, look at the pizza.
And I've even gone traditional style and slow smoked it for a real Jamaican jerk barbecue experience. This recipe will make you fall in love with tofu, and if you don't already, in love with Jamaican.
Listen, I'm going to share her TikTok. People are asking for it. Listen to me when I say this. That's what I'm like. Look, if you learn to love tofu, and look, I've been eating tofu my whole life, so I didn't have to learn how to love it. But if you're new to it and you have to learn how to love it, girly, it's just a relationship, right? You're learning about the relationship to food, your flavors, what you like. And by the way, you don't have to eat tofu ever, but you're forgetting, like, sorry, I'm going to say this, especially to white Americans. You like to say I can't go vegans because tofu is gross, are like as if Asians don't eat tofu, as if there are not whole parts of the global population that doesn't eat fucking tofu. You're just being fucking weird. You're being so fucking weird to be like, oh, I didn't eat tofu. What do you mean you don't eat tofu? Like, just because, you know what I mean? Just because you're from the US and you don't have that background or lineage, or you've never been to an Asian mart, like, why are you even saying that? Okay? Like, I'm so lucky and blessed that my mother always took us to shop at Mexican supermarkets, Asian supermarkets, Arabic or Arab supermarkets. Like, we've always been that family. And I will always be grateful to my parents for shopping at local, you know, stores for that reason. So, like, it's just weird to say that out loud, to be like, oh, I don't, you know what I mean? Okay, Elle has a TikTok and she stitched this thing. Look at the way that humans also treat animals. So you guys have to understand, it's not that people, again, veganism isn't about what you eat. There is a whole part of abuse that's happening, guys. Bestiality, like literally raping of the animals is happening. You are eating raped animals. Some of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's also the bullying of the animals. Like this guy, look at him bullying. So there's a mommy pig. She just had a baby. And this man goes and is fucking with the mom pig, and he goes and grabs her baby.
Imagine some...
Like, why is that funny? Like, why the fuck is that funny to grab a baby and then he throws the baby? He throws the baby. Why is that funny?
Random person trying to take one of your children away from you because they want to hold them. Like, obviously, if you were this pig, you wouldn't know why someone's trying to take them away. You just know they were posing a threat to your children. And again, another example of animals protecting their babies. So yeah, can we just leave babies and their mothers alone?
Literally. Okay. Now, tofu, I know people sometimes think of it as flavorless. I actually think tofu is not flavorless, just like I don't think oatmeal is flavorless. I actually recommend that when you eat things, you really close your eyes and really try to feel and taste stuff. Because I do think people think oatmeal and tofu is flavorless. They are not. There is absolutely a flavor. If I had to do a blind test, I could tell you which flavor I was tasting because tofu has a flavor. Oatmeal has a flavor. Like there is a flavor. So you have to learn to really love the flavor or learn the different taste of the flavor or learn what you like because, you know, again, it's up to you. It's like a special interest for me to love food. So I understand not everyone's going to love it the same way. But I have over the years really learned so much about food. That's why I think going on this journey now makes a lot of sense. But listen, the only reason I am plant-based, guys, is for ethics. I need this to be abundantly clear. Even though it has helped my fibromyalgia, if I wasn't doing this for ethical reasons, I would still be eating other foods that were not vegan, that were not plant-based, that might upset my fibro, but like I would not be doing this. Okay? And I would be like, I pass by the bakery every day that I'm at the store. It's not every day. I'm never at the store. But when I'm at the store, and I always stand in front of the donut case and I go, okay. And then I leave. And my partner watches me. He watches me go to the dessert section, look at everything and go. And then he watches me walk away. If it wasn't for ethical reasons, I'd be eating the fuck out of those donuts.
Woman that has been vegan for about 7 years now. I did not grow up with money, and we're going to break down this recent Billie. I'm an indigenous.
Sorry, let's watch this lady because she was interesting.
Vegan woman that has been vegan for about 7 years now. I did not grow up with money, and we're going to break down this recent Billie Eilish situation because people are ripping her to shreds. Before we start this conversation, I did mention that I've been vegan for 7 years, meaning that I grew up eating meat, and I did not grow up with money. I grew up in a Mexican household, and I still have a lot of family that does eat meat. A lot of people are calling her racist, saying that she doesn't care about indigenous people, tribes, cultures, things like that. But in reality, a lot of people are not aware that most of these people are vegan. They respect animals and see them as beings rather than food. And the reason that Billie Eilish and a lot of vegans, including myself, say that you cannot love animals and eat them is because doing so contributes to deforestation, wildfires, animal endangerment, animal cruelty, the list goes on. In this country, we are unfortunately programmed to think that we need meat and milk to live.
Here's a good example that I think might help because of what she just said. I think if you spank your kids, you love your kids and you spank them. But if I tell you every study shows spanking your kids does nothing and it actually builds resentment and actually hurts them in the long run and you still spank your kids, I might start to think you don't love them. Do you know what I'm saying?
To be healthy. It's just a simple fact that eating meat is killing our planet. It's fishing out our oceans. It's draining our oceans. People like to label vegans as the bad guy, but in reality, we're helping conserve our planet as much as we can. Another argument I've seen is that being vegan is a privilege, and I don't agree with that either because, once again, I did not grow up with money. My boyfriend and I were broke college students, and a lot of people will tell you that being vegan is expensive. It's not. It's cheaper than a meat diet. Meat is considered a privilege. And a lot of the communities that people are saying Billie Eilish is harming are once again, in fact, vegan. And even during the COVID spike, people were going towards vegan diets because of the fact that meat is more expensive. We live in 2026. There are so many alternatives. People just don't want to do the research because people will argue with you all day long and say that they can't eat this or they can't eat that.
I'm going to ban this person. Guys, saying you're dumb or stupid when we're having a serious conversation is not it. You know, in this context, I don't like the way I've been getting a lot of angry, like you're so stupid comments from alleged vegans. And I actually think they're trolls. So I'm going to block this person because you have a bad attitude. You said billionaires, pollution, factories are killing our planet. How dumb is she? You have one comment to redeem yourself, but they could not do those things unless we engaged in consensual and non-consensual exploitation, which means we consent to the exploitation of our planet when you refuse to go vegan or plant-based, right? When you know you can. Most of us are privileged enough, we can go plant-based. Most of us are very privileged. We can go plant-based, right? So if you're an environmentalist and you're not plant-based, it makes no fucking sense to me, right? If you're, okay, you said boo freaking who? Okay, love that. Okay, I'm gonna ban you. Thanks for giving me a boost in the algorithm. But okay. And this is why I say billionaires will exploit your vulnerabilities because they know that you would rather have the convenience of one day shipping. So they'll flaunt it. Like, okay, my friend was getting delivery and they were like, why is it so expensive now? Guys, I don't know if you understand capitalism. So I'm going to explain to you how businesses run. This isn't even my area of expertise. It's just a special interest. Okay. When a company starts, like an Uber, what they do is they have investors who carry the cost so you can get it for free or at lower prices when the product initially hits market. Once the consumer is addicted to the product, the investors get their money back because they boost the prices. Okay, when Netflix first hit the market, it was very cheap and convenient because they had backers who were floating the cost. They were losing money. Amazon didn't make any money for like 10 years, right? That's always the story Jeff Bezos tells. That's because investors invest and then they get their return back. By the time you're addicted and they know you're not going to give it up, then they raise the prices and you're already hooked. So they're like, well, I got to do it. Okay? That's how it works. They get you, so that's what I want you to understand. If that's how you know the world works, when you get it, when you really embody it, you're like, oh, okay, wait, then I can make better choices. Then I can make different decisions. I can, instead of having all of the, how people are like, I can't believe all the streaming services cost so much. Girls, my parents were paying $80 to $150 a month for cable. What do you think our parents were paying for? And they had commercials. I don't know. I know you guys are young, some of you, and you don't remember what commercials are, but that's why that's why some of us had antennas on our TV and we're trying to get free channels because we want to pay $100 a month. So again, I don't know why you thought these companies were going to let you live for so little. Of course, they were eventually going to reach the prices of what our parents were paying. Do you know what I'm saying? That's how capitalism works. That's why it sucks. Capitalism sucks for this reason because it's always going to come at the expense of the consumer until the consumer makes a demand that says, we're not going to pay for that. Which we're trying. A lot of people are trying to fight back in different ways. Or just have one subscription at a time. Or share your Netflix password. Or sail the high seas, like Chat said, sail the high seas. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I want people to process about all of this. Like, the exploitation of animals on factory farms exists because you're buying the product and because they know you're not going to stop buying the product. And you're going to think vegans are stupid and plant-based people are stupid and privileged and you're not going to do it. But for the same reason you're telling yourself, oh, it's a privilege to go vegan, it's the same reason other people are saying, oh, yeah, I'm not going to give up my second house or my car and I'm not going to stop having 10 kids and I'm going to overconsume because the world sucks anyways. And I'm saying all of us are telling ourselves the narrative that keeps us from doing what's right, but that's why the world is the way it is. We suck. And you're not an evil person, but it is why you have to radically accept humans are going to human. The world is exactly the way it's supposed to be in quotations because that's how we are. It's a very humbling experience. It's a very humbling experience to realize oh shit, it's me. I'm the problem. Now, if only all of us could recognize that and do less bad every day. Without beating yourself up. Huh? Chat said a personal question. Since becoming plant-based, what do you usually eat for breakfast? Are you a sweet breakfast kind of girl? Fruit, porridge, pancakes? No. I eat 2 big meals a day and 1 to 2 snacks a day. So I'm usually up for a few hours and then I have my big meal, which is like a lunchtime meal. So I don't really have a breakfast unless you count that as breakfast. My lunch and my breakfast are mixed. So I have 1 big meal and it depends on how many calories I eat in that meal. If I eat 800 calories in that meal, then obviously my second meal is a lot smaller. If I'm eating 500 calories in that meal, so then I think about it that way. I don't always count my calories, just FYI. I just kind of wing it most of the time. But I kind of loosely goosey. So I have a middle breakfast. Like today I ate a big bowl of spaghetti with jackfruit and asparagus. And it was I didn't even know because I didn't count it proper. But I think it was probably 600 calories-ish. And then I'll eat again after stream, another meal. And then I'll have a snack. Whatever I want. I try to eat a couple of hours before bed. I try to think about what I'm eating. It's a workout day. So I did I did squats this morning. I have to do my second half of squats later today. I also did my language lesson for Croatian. Dobar dan. Yes, I'm doing it. I want to be so good at this. Watch out, everybody. It only took me 3 years to get started. It's really intimidating. See? Okay, great example. Look how long it took me to transition into learning Croatian because I was having meltdowns every time I tried to learn it. I just did my 4th lesson today. Thank you. And that's the point. I'm the last person on earth to tell you just to become vegan or just be plant-based or just be whatever. I am the slowest transitioner you will ever meet. I'll give you another good example. Do you remember during lockdown and COVID? Does anyone remember how hard it was for me to wear a mask? And how I really struggled with this because it would trigger my PTSD trauma from assault. My PTSD trauma from assault when it comes to head coverings is so intense that like, though I'm functional and everything is fine, like to this day, if my partner puts their leg over my leg for too long, I feel like instantly like claustrophobic and I'm like hot flashes start. And my partner's like, my bad. And like, it's not even a big deal. I like when his leg is over my leg, but my brain is just like, what are we doing? And I'm just like, it's fine. And like, that's the thing is like, I'm a functional human being. So when lockdown happened, at first I was really annoyed with the masks because I was like, Jesus Christ, I don't want to do this. But then I did it. And now I can wear masks whenever I want. And that was really hard. I'm the last person to tell you it's easy. I'm also going to say it's really hard to be a good person. And so for me, instead of saying I'm never going to wear masks, which I do think a lot of conservatives are just triggered and they don't believe in mental health, so they don't want to admit it. I said, okay, Brittany, we're triggered. How do we get better? Now, trigger just means reactive or activated. It doesn't mean my mental health went away. It doesn't mean I was like being mean to people. It doesn't mean anything bad happened. It means I, like anxiety or a panic attack, was having like a panic attack, right? So you have to remember that you're not a bad person for getting triggered. Being triggered is pretty neutral. Most of the time, like if I'm triggered, it's not going to hurt anybody, right? It's just going to be in a heightened state of being, okay? So all you have to do is ask yourself, like, am I willing to work on this? Yes or no? And obviously the answer is yes. There's a lot of really good community reasons to wear a mask. There's a lot of good individual reasons to wear a mask. It's good for you and everybody else. Like, yes, I'm going to learn how to wear a mask. Okay. And then I went through that process. Okay. I'm never going to tell you to rush a transition. I'm just going to tell you it's possible, but it's really hard. Okay. Back to this video.
But there's an alternative available. Veggies are not more expensive than meat. They never have been. And this is just a fact. Once again, people just refuse to do the research. And this is coming from someone that used to eat meat. If you love animals, I am begging you to do your research. I am begging you to watch an animal documentary. The one that made me go vegan was Dominion. And after watching it, I never went back.
Everybody talks about that one, but I haven't seen that one.
I also think it is so important for people to understand that just because something is a part of a culture does not make it right. For example, yes, there are indigenous people that are not vegan. Does that make it right? Absolutely not.
Hold on, Chad, hold on. Chad said that's amazing, especially given that a few years ago you were saying you were never going to learn it. No. I was saying I probably couldn't learn it. Because I don't think did I ever say on stream that I was never going to learn it? Like, I don't need to learn Croatian. Like, I hope that's never how I came across. Because I only meant that I'm really terrified my learning disabilities or my brain might never be able to learn it. And that's why I say, like, that's why I was scared I would never learn it, right? That's what's so scary about, like, what your brain can do. And that's why I say, like, I needed time to figure it out. But I will just say, like, make sure you know the difference, right? Yeah, Chet said, no, you said you'd never be able to learn it. Yeah, like I was afraid that I would never be able to learn it. Right? That feels like a very different thing to me because I'm not a giver-upper. I don't ever give up. So whenever I say something, just know I'm never giving up. If I say like I'm never going to do something, just know I'm going to do it. Like even now, I'm like, I can never do math. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to pass my math classes. If I ever take a math class, I'm going to pass it. Believe in me, because I believe in me, and also believe in you. Just like when you started your plant-based journey, did it feel like you needed to just do it and you figured it embodied? Wait, hold on. When you started your plant-based journey, did it feel like you needed to just do it and you figured the embodied feeling would come after? Because for me, it feels like I needed the embodied feeling to come first. Well, okay. I had something. Okay. Do you guys get the feeling? Like, do you know your body well enough to be like, uh-oh, I'm about to change. I'm about to be a different person. Do you guys have that sensation? I get a sensation in my life where I go, oh, fuck, I'm about to become a new person. So I was going through that stage of like, oh, I can feel myself changing for some reason. I wonder who I'm going to be. But I am a new person every so often. Like, and I can feel the shifts happening. And I remember when I did those 30-day challenges, I decided I was going to do it. And I told my partner, I'm going to go vegetarian first because I have a feeling that when I go plant-based, I'm not going to come back. And he said, why do you think that? And I was like, something is telling me I might not come back from this. And he's like, oh, weird. I did my vegetarian 30-day challenge. And the last week or about halfway through that challenge, I switched to vegan to transition. And I never went back to, or I went to plant-based and I never went back. So yeah, like I had a feeling that I was like, something's going to change. But again, like I'm here for the ride. So that's really what it is. Like it's a ride of like, I feel, you know, so I think the embodiment in my brain knew it. And I was also reading and researching and I was convinced, I think I was also just ready. That's why I say like, you have to be ready to change. You know, now look, the reason I also say I'm plant-based is because I wonder if I will ever go back or go forward or go back. I don't know. It's hard for me. I go to the meat aisle too. I know chat said that too. You go to the fish. I go to the meat aisles and I stand in front of the meat and I go, do I want this? And then I'm just like, nah, I'm good. And then I just kind of move away from it. So yeah, like I think you have to be really kind to yourself. That's why I'm not making the prescription. That's why I don't make a prescription, right? Because if I make a prescription, like, okay, I'll give an example. I had a vegan said, Brittany, you can't go vegan and go not vegan. That's like being not racist and then going back to racist. I think a lot of people think they're not racist, but they actually still are. And that's why it looks like they went liberal and then went back to conservative, but they never were. They never had the embodied experience of anti-racism, right? And because they didn't have the embodied experience of anti-racism, it was easy for them to go back to being racist because they never left it. So when people go, oh, I was vegan and then I went back to not being vegan, I kind of get it now. But I will say this. Hold on. Don't let me lose my train of thought. Oh, shoot. You said something. Damn it. I did lose it. I lost it. Hold on. Fuck. It's kind of similar to being anti-capitalist and being like, oh, yeah, capitalism kind of sucks. No. I'm like super anti-capitalist. Like super anti-capitalist. Like I am so convinced at this point that it is so fucked up and illogical that you can't, like, I've never seen a good argument for capitalism. Before I was like, yeah, capitalism kind of sucks. Shoot, what did I say? What was I going to say? Embodiment something. Vegans often say, Brittany, veganism isn't a journey because, you know, I say it's a journey and they hate that word. They go, that's like saying racism is a journey. It kind of is. Like the irony is you kind of have to go on a journey out of racism. It like same with homophobia. It kind of is a journey. So vegans hate that, but they don't understand human beings are literally going through a journey out of racism and we all start out at a different point. So this is what sucks about having kids, right? Because you have children and each child starts off at a different place, right? So maybe they start off over here where there's like KKK, like their parents are KKK people. These kids are at a very different place and their parents voted for Obama, okay? Are in a different place than they can date a black guy, but only if he's conservative, but only if he's Republican, okay? These are two different kinds, but all of this might be racism. Like you could be a racist KKK person, a racist person who voted for Obama, or a racist person that lets your daughter date a black guy as long as he's a Republican. Like this is all part kind of racist or racist. You know what I'm saying? But it's a spectrum out of, you know, you have to go out of it. But maybe the person who says, I voted for Obama, I can't be racist. But you can be racist and vote for Obama. Oh, I can't be racist. My daughter dates black guys. You can still be racist. I mean, the fact that you brag about her dating a black guy is kind of racist. You know, I can't be racist. I just want to keep my culture preserved. That sounds racist. So like, you know, when we're having this conversation, it actually is kind of like a journey out of racism or a journey out of homophobia or a journey out of animal consumption, you know? So I think it's like That's what I was on. I think I've been on it my whole life. Like I said, I've dated vegans. I've eaten vegan. I was around a lot of vegans, you know, and it just, I think all of those things contributed to who I am now. I think I am a combination of all of the things that came before me till now. Right? And so it just melted now. Or imagine, here's another version, okay? Imagine I'm going through life. Here's me, okay? And I've got this green sludge all over my body. And as I move through life, okay, the green sludge gets a little less, okay? And the idea is I'm shedding everything I was taught, everything that I was taught that like no longer serves me until the point where, you know, maybe, oh, hello, Brittany. Maybe I just have like a little bit left until it's gone. So it feels like, you know, maybe I started off here, okay? But there are people who start off like here. Like you can't even see them, bro. Like they are in the sludge, you know? They're like there, okay? And I'm saying don't take for granted that you maybe started off here, right? That's the privilege, that's intersectionality to an extent, you know what I mean? But that's like where you started off. Like some people really start off here. And these people who started off here, by the way, could be rich, could be famous, could be celebrity, could be poor, could be in poverty. It could be anybody. Because all the green represents is like the level with introspection, extrospection. It doesn't always represent like your economics or your background, or it's just like your relationship and the deconstruction you've done to kind of like move everything out of the way so you can understand. Or kind of like if you start off life like this, and you're like, oh my God, the world is such a great place. Like, wow, I really like this place. And then you're like, oh, wow, oh my gosh, wait, I can see a little bit better. Oh, it's kind of bright out there. And then it's like, this is like, oh, hey, look at all this stuff. That's kind of nice. And then it's like this. It's like, oh, cool, cool, cool. And then it's like this. And we're all at different stages all the time. And then sometimes you're at different stages with different things. So maybe with racism, you're like this. You're like, oh my gosh. Whoa, with homophobia, transphobia, you're like this. And then maybe when it comes to animal rights, you're like this. You know what I mean? Maybe you're like this. Ooh, uh-oh. Right? So it's like, it's, yeah. Was that good an explanation? I hope that was good. Okay, back to the videos. Billie Eilish.
Take on if you eat meat, you Eilish's take on if you eat meat, you don't love animals. It's not controversial. It's just wrong, dumb, and completely disconnected from the world. I say this as a vegan of 5 years and as somebody who loves Billie Eilish. Completely disregards so many different people, and it also disregards the current economy and the current state of the world. How can you say that to somebody who has something like iron deficiency anemia, who has Crohn's disease, celiac disease, epilepsy, osteoporosis, or God forbid, somebody who's even just fucking pregnant? Where if they eat a vegan vegetarian lifestyle, they are putting their health, their safety, and God forbid, their own life.
You know what's funny? In conservative bubbles, they would literally just say, yeah, I don't care about animals as much as I care about humans. Next. Yeah, I love my animals, but I would kill them for humanity. Next. That's all Billie's saying. But you would not sit there and say, oh, I love my child, but I would kill my child for something. I don't know. Right? Like, you wouldn't eat your child for something, right? So like, yeah, like I, you know what I'm saying? Like just all the Billie is like, I feel like that makes sense just to say, again, when I say love, how can you say you love me and cheat on me? People do it all the time. I love you. Then why'd you cheat on? People do it all the time. So is that love? Right?
At risk. How can you look at somebody who's low income or who lives in a food desert and does not have reasonable access to vegan, vegetarian alternatives?
Well, that's kind of like saying, how could you look at people who are born into a KKK family and call them racist? Because they are. They were raised in that family. They didn't have a choice. They're kids. It was against their consent. They're forced into the bubble, but they still are racist. Unless they're not. Unless they were somehow born into a KKK bubble, raised KKK, used slurs, called black people the N-word, did horrible things to gay people. And then they were like, oh, but that's just like where I was raised. Yeah, that's everyone. That's true. By the way, if you want to be deeply empathetic, yeah, that's why I say we make predators. We make racist people. That's why we say like human beings create everything that's bad in the world. We do raise our kids racist. We raise our kids homophobic. We raise our kids to be hateful. And that's why it's interesting, right? It doesn't mean that if you raise your kids not to be hateful, that they won't be, because they can be influenced by other people, of course. It's to say that we are complicit in the harms of the universe. And that includes people who are in bad situations, right? We're all complicit.
And tell them that they don't love animals because they're eating meat. It's disconnected, it's dumb, it's uneducated, and it's just wrong. For example, when you eat vegan or vegetarianism, you're putting yourself at risk for higher deficiencies in things like B12, riboflavin, and iron. Not to mention, so many vegan supplements and like vegan alternatives to food have so much fucking sodium, which can be so dangerous for so many people. Not to mention, like, in order to eat vegan vegetarianism and to do so in a healthy way, you need to buy supplements. You need to have some sort of something supplementing the vitamins you're not getting through meat. And that's fine if that's attainable for her, but how can you also say that knowing that most of America is experiencing things like food insecurity and severe inflation of rental prices and gas prices, and most people can barely afford to eat, let alone to live? How can you say that people who eat meat don't love animals? Because also, vegan supplements are so fucking expensive. Go buy a thing of Beyond Meat versus a thing of hamburger meat, and I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to realize how much money you actually save not being a vegan and not being a vegetarian.
Yeah, but like that's what, then you're saying what matters more than taking a life is saving a few dollars. You would make an amazing capitalist. That is what Jeff Bezos thinks. That's how billionaires think. So it comes at the cost of a few people's life, but I'll be rich. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
It's so fucking, I'm sorry.
Now, of course, we'd like to believe that people who are struggling or in poverty aren't those people, but there are a lot of like wannabe millionaires who are sitting in poverty right now. There are a lot of like really homophobic, evil fucking people who happen to also be poor. So like we have to remember that too, right? Like, yes, we can meet people where they're at. We should. And we can't pretend like, oh, all these people are like, quote, good people or something. Now, hold on. Okay, before I keep going with this, I want to pause and question our way we think by introducing you a philosophical quandary that has hit the internet, and then we're going to go back to the vegan related stuff directly. So let me pull this up for you. So this was going viral. Hold on. I got to just put this together. Okay, you can pause. You can like the stream while you're waiting. Okay. Share this with your mom. Tell her I said hi. That I remember her fondly. Think of her all the time. So this red versus blue button dilemma was going around. It says, it's the new trolley problem for philosophy fucking Reddit nerds like me. You have two buttons. Press blue. If more people press this over red, no one dies. Press red. If more people press this than blue, everyone who pressed blue dies. Okay? I'm going to read it again. Press blue. If more people press this over red, no one dies. Press red. If more people press this than blue, everyone who pressed blue dies. You'll see Mr. Beast even asked his community, 56% of 300,000 votes, blue. This one here, Tim Urban asked his audience, 100,000 people, 57% blue. Here's a meme about it. There's this red button and a blue button. You with an emotionally support trolley lover. If you press the red button, the blue side gets angry. If you press the blue side, the red side gets angry. No matter which side you press, someone will get mad at you and probably claim you don't understand it. Okay. Right? Okay. Here's the thing. This relates to veganism. I want you to think about life this way. Depending on how you answer this question, or depending on how I'm asked the question, I have different answers. I sent this to a bunch of friends. I talked to a bunch of people, about this button question. Here's the thing, okay? So there's three scenarios. So the first scenario is the one that I initially thought of when I saw the question. I thought, okay, if the whole population, 8 billion people, were given this question, okay, if you press blue, if more people press blue, then red, no one dies. Okay, most people are going to press blue because they read no one dies, they're going to press blue. That's all they're going to read. Because over here, they're going to read everyone who pressed blue dies, and they're going to think, fuck, I don't want to die. I'm going to press blue. Okay? I also thought about children, old people, colorblind people, people who just picked blue because they didn't understand the question. If you asked me this question on a test and I was at university, I would have picked red. If you asked me this question when I was playing Squid Games with other people, I would have pressed red. If you ask me this question, assuming that I'm thinking about humans as they are, human beings, I assume most people will press blue. And I would not want those people to die, because then I would be stuck in a world with a bunch of people who press red and thought badly of the people who press blue, because only the people who press red, who at least by not only intuitionally I knew this to be true, but when I read all the comments was true, they think the blue people are stupid. They think they're idiots. They deserve to die. It's basically all the psychopaths chose red. And I'm saying, yes, if I was in a psychopath situation, I would pick red. If I was taking a logics test, I would press red, because logically, red, nobody dies, assuming no one presses blue. And yes, the question as it's phrased would mean that no one should be even pressing blue to begin with. But if you take into consideration people, you know there are going to be people who press blue. And if you want to preserve their life, you would press blue. The issue is people who press red didn't care about the lives of the people who press blue because they think they're stupid. The dilemma is, I guarantee you, probably someone in my life will press blue, including myself, for the sake of the other people who press blue. And that's the two different groups of people. But sure, if I was playing this game in a room where it was like survival of the fittest and I didn't care about anybody else in that room, I would have pressed red. Right? So that's the problem when these questions come up. They're not meant for there to be a right answer. They're meant to test your morality. That's what the trolley problem is. The trolley problem has no right answer. The answer is a test. It's a mirror into your own morality. That's what philosophy does. Philosophy holds no objectivity. It only challenges the thinker to really contend with its own conclusion. So when you say, I love animals, but I'm going to contribute to the slaughtering of animals, the rape of animals, and the consumption of their flesh, and then you still tell me that you love them, it's confusing. I love my kid, but I spank them black and blue to show them respect. It's a question of, why do you tell yourself you love animals and you eat their flesh? And I say this as somebody who wanted to have her own farm, who used to make her own beef jerky, who, you know what I'm saying? Okay. So I do understand, but this is why I tell you, philosophy is so exciting for me, because philosophy is just a challenge to you, your ethics, your values. It is not telling you the right answer. You have to discover what's the right answer. Okay? Any thoughts on this? Let's see. Chat says, I'm going to go up a little bit. I'm going to go up. Okay, hold on. Oh my gosh, you guys wrote a lot. Okay, blue, easy, blue. Why would you want to live in a society of red buttons? The Forsaken button. I'm a blue button. Blue. Oh, this is about community trust. Blue. I simply have to believe that most people are good enough to make that choice. If not, oh well, I'd be dead. Yeah, and then oh well, I'd be dead. Fuck it. I'd be dead. Who cares? Right? Team blue button. Oddly close. Effing edgelords. Blue for sure. Even if you survive the blue, people seem morally kinder. Okay, or what the Reds were arguing is the only people you'll be left with is Gryffindors. Ugh, people who want to be heroes. But I don't think so. I think you'd be with a lot of people. I think you'd be with a mix of people. And I think a lot of red people think they're an anti-hero, which is even worse. Honestly, I don't know which one I hate more, the hero or the anti-hero. Both of you are obnoxious and often male people, because both of you are playing into patriarchy. So that's the problem with the red button people. They're imagine being with a bunch of edgelords. Ugh, you know what I mean? Ugh, right? Chet said we live in a red button world. LOL, I am pressing red. Some people did say that as well. The world is a red button world. I don't think that's true, but I do think that it's more true on the macro than it is true on the micro. Because I leave my house every day and I come home every day pretty safe. Or we go to work every day and we do pretty well. Most of us live a pretty okay life, even if we're stressed. So I would say that probably indicates we live more in a blue world. But I would say the Reds are definitely making life harder. Okay? Right? Let's see. Apparently eating vegan vegetarian is not more expensive. That'd be something. Like that was just something people said and ran with it. Well, I also think the meat industries are making sure you believe that, right? So you can avoid even looking into it, right? Let me see. Yeah, I live streamed a genocide proves majority is red. Yeah, sure. Like a live streamed genocide is kind of psychopathic in a sense, but I think people feel like they can't do anything. You know, like people feel, listen, when you feel like you can't do anything, you won't. And listen, this is why I always say, like, just going back to like learning Croatian and stuff like that. Listen, I have the kind of brain that needs to say the insecure true part out loud. I am terrified. I might never get this. And if I never get this, what then? I need to say that out loud. And then I need to cry, sit with it, and then I need to do it. And then I need to prove to myself that I was capable of doing it. But I can't lie to you. I wish I could get up here and be like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking ace this language. Anyone who can't learn a language, you're just pathetic. Anyone who can't learn a new language and you move somewhere, you're stupid. Oh my God, learning a new language is so easy. But that's not my life. That's not my brain. It actually is an extremely terrifying experience and I fucking hate it. Except now I'm doing better with it. And after all of these years, I feel pretty good about it. But that's not my experience. And so I'm very empathetic to the idea that like, Brittany, I can't just change around my whole diet. I just found one that works. I can't just like start eating plant-based. I hear you. That's why I don't make a prescription. That's why I'm not telling you to learn a language. I'm not telling you to eat vegan or plant-based. I'm not telling you to do anything. Because when has that ever worked? When has it ever worked to tell people what to do? Never. The only thing you can do is show people they have options. And when they're ready, they can take the option. Okay? That's it. That's what it is. That's the point. Okay? And by the way, until you're ready, you're not going to get it. So again, even giving suggestions, it doesn't help my brain. I don't need anyone's help. I don't want anyone's like, oh, Brittany, this might help you. I've already thought of everything. I'm that autistic. I've already thought of everything. If I needed your help, I would ask. Once I figured out the right way to work for my brain, I got it, right? That's the problem with school as well. How many of us did bad in school? Because they didn't give you the option to learn in a way that actually works for you. They kept teaching you like, your brain doesn't work that way, bro. And that's why capitalism also sucks. Okay? So again, like when we have these conversations, I tell you what I'm struggling with so you know you're not alone. And also stop giving people suggestions unless they ask, because all you're doing is overwhelming them and making them feel worse about the fact that they can't use it. They can't do anything with what you're giving them. They're not ready. So that's why I don't agree. And that's why I don't go into people's comment sections. That's why I don't tell people to be vegan or plant-based, because I just know, and the same reason, by the way, the same reason I barely call out people about anything unless it's my job, because I already know like until they're ready, they're not going to hear you anyways. And why am I wasting my limited oxygen for what? Just to make yourself feel better, probably, because you're trying to be helpful, right? The road to hell is paved in good intentions. Remember that. Let's watch this recipe because this looks fucking delicious.
An In-N-Out Double Animal Style is next on Make My Burger, where I veganize your requests. And I've made this one a bunch of times over the years. In fact, I taught myself how to make
Tell me that doesn't look so fucking good.
this at home way before going vegan, as I hated waiting in that mile-long drive-through line.
Oh.
The only thing that takes a while is the caramelized onions. However, if you're well-versed in Munchie meal prep, you know you can make a big batch and freeze some for later. The sauce is equally delicious, as it is easy to whip up, as it's just a Thousand Island style spread. Now, In-N-Out uses 2-ounce patties, so I highly suggest you do as well, since this is crucial to getting it right. Otherwise, the burger is just way too tall and requires you to unhook your jaw. Likewise, make sure you use the right size buns and give them a dry toast too. Then grill and season your patties, and before flipping them, give them a squirt of mustard, top them with some vegan American cheese, a little squirt of water, and then cover to steam and melt. Then build your burger like so. Extra points if you can wrap it up, and then grab one of these peppers and enjoy.
Oh, those are my favorite peppers. I love those peppers. Those chilies. That's what I'm saying, girls. That's what I'm saying. Here, I'll share the TikTok with the chat since you're asking. I'm telling you, bros. That's why. Okay, so every time I get hungry, I go to TikTok, I type in vegan recipes, and boom. And then I go home and I try to make it. I've tried to make this recipe multiple times and I've enjoyed it every fucking time. Of course, you have to use your own products to kind of like, because sometimes I don't have access to everything everyone has access to. I don't either, by the way. for the record, there are vegan products I will never have access to because I live in Croatia, but I still find a way to make it work. And that's the point. But yeah, TikTok, food ideas, that's where it's at. Okay, another Billie Eilish take.
But Billie Eilish is right. She is. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, there's a video that's going around of her in an interview where she said that eating meat is wrong and, if you eat meat and you can't love animals, something like that. If you don't know, like, search it, it's everywhere at the moment. And yeah, she's right. I don't blame people for getting defensive though. Like, it makes sense, do you know what I mean? Like, if you've been doing something your whole life and someone tells you it's wrong, no, I don't want to believe that. Like, I'm not wrong. I care about animals. Of course I love animals. I'd never want my actions to contribute to animals. But no one wants that. No one does. And so when suddenly you're being told that, it's kind of like, no, that's not who I am as a person, which is understandable. I get it. Like, but the thing is, it's also not your fault either for a lot of people. Some people do know what happens in the industry and just don't care. But for people who don't know, which is the majority, because these industries have incredible marketing that makes it seem like it's this happy farm with, cows running in the field and, then it's like one bad day. But like, that's not how it is. Like 85% of all meat in the UK comes from intense farming practices, comes from factory farming. It is not fun. It is not great. And realistically, my view anyway is that we shouldn't use animals for anything, regardless of whether they're treated nicely or not. Like, they're not for us to exploit. They're for us to leave alone, not for us to take from. That's my own personal view on it, but we're specifically talking about eating meat because that's what Billie Eilish was talking about. I completely understand why people are defensive. I do. But some of the comments that I've seen are just actually ridiculous. I don't actually agree that eating meat is inherently wrong. I know exactly what she was trying to say with this. However, in the actual words that she used, which as we all know, if you're saying anything to a large audience, or even just like as a small creator, like I have found that some people will just take something you say and just run with it and twist it and try and make it about something else. Like, people have taken these words and twisted them, and I know exactly what she meant, but for the people who don't, eating meat isn't actually inherently wrong. Like, the actual act of having it in front of you and eating it is not wrong. A lot of animals do that. It's very natural. We have the biology and the anatomy to do so. It's not wrong. However, what is wrong is this fact that we have a supply chain. It's not food chain. It's not for survival. It's for
Yeah, there's my Discord and I were just talking about scavenger vegans, like vegans who eat roadkill. But then some vegans would say that roadkill should go into the animal ecosystem around the roadkill. But there are people who there are, quote, vegans who will eat like roadkill, animals that die. But honestly, girl, like, I don't even want it at that point. That's for the bugs now, girl. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good, So I'm kind of like, I'm good. I just don't want to. Like, I don't know why you want to. That's the question. Like, could I date somebody who ate roadkill? Probably not. Everyone was making fun of RFK Jr. for picking up that dead bear to eat it. Why? He's basically a scavenger vegan. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I'm good, girl. I don't want it.
money. It's industries producing, breeding these animals, these individual sentient beings that deserve the rights to their life just as much as we do, and treating them as products and then selling their body for money, right? Like, that's what this is. And that's why it's wrong. So eating meat within itself is not actually wrong. It's the fact that we have this supply chain where we exploit animals. And that's how the majority of people get their meat or their animal products. And I kept seeing the same comments over and over again. People saying stuff like, oh, why don't you go tell the lions that? Like, it's obviously a completely different situation. If you can't see that, then I can't help you. People saying stuff like, oh, well, you can love animals because I love my cat.
Yeah, like, vegan arguments are usually like, animals also rape each other, but we agree we shouldn't be raping each other, right? Though we understand people will be raping. We do agree rape is bad, right? Now, you might say, Brittany, raping a human being is not the same as eating a chicken. It's called an analogy, you fucking idiots. I love you so much, girls. Do not make me take you back to school. Come on. In order for us to be philosophically authentic, we have to say it's an analogy. It's an example. It's an example to challenge your way of thinking. Come on now. So when you say like, okay, yeah, why am I against rape? If these humans were, why am I against the enslavement of humans, but not the enslavement of non-animal humans? You have to actually answer the question. Because there are enslaved people right now existing. There are prison systems created to enslave people. There are innocent people sitting in prison right now. You have to really ask yourself the question. And this is why the world won't get better, because you're not actually answering the question, right? And I don't blame you. You're an animal on a planet. Maybe you don't know how to ask yourself the question, which is why we do philosophy, so we can learn how to ask ourselves the questions.
But I still eat like bacon, whatever. Like, that's not what she said. And this is exactly.
Also, what if we took those billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars used to genocide other countries and use it to create lab-grown meat or ethically sourced meat or, plant-based options? That's what I'm saying. Don't you see how you're being exploited by the meat industries? Don't you see, as a whole, we're not talking about the minority of communities that are engaging in meat consumption because they genuinely can't, they don't have choices. We're talking about the majority of the world that more or less has a grocery store next to you. Do you live next to a grocery store? If you live next to a grocery store, you can be plant-based. The question is, why don't you go plant-based? That's up to you to answer. I can't answer that for you, and I'm not telling you to be plant-based. I'm saying, what's your reasoning? Okay, everyone else who doesn't live near a grocery store, fine. You don't need to be a part of the conversation. Bye. Leave. If you live near a grocery store, why don't you go plant-based? Now answer that question, right?
What I was talking about when I say that people take people's words and then just twist them and run with them to like fit their narrative of what they want to be right. If you want to say that you love all animals, then it means you love all animals, right? Not just the ones.
Not just pets, but animals. So do you love pets or do you love animals? Because I love my pet. I don't know that I love all animals. To be honest with you, I fucking hate mosquitoes. To be honest with you, I fucking hate bugs. I hate them. And I do squish bugs in my house. That's why I'm not vegan. Because I do squish them. Okay, I don't like them in my house, and I don't want to just carry the silverfish and put them outside the house. Sometimes we get silverfish. I don't like them. Sometimes we get spiders. That's why I'm not vegan. Okay, but I do agree. Okay, that right. So like that's the challenge. The challenge is I wonder if I'll ever become the person who doesn't squish spiders. Maybe, probably.
You have a personal connection with in your house. It means you love and you respect all animals and their lives, right? And even though, because I know people are going to be like, oh, vegans ignore crop deaths. Like, we don't ignore crop deaths. We just understand that there are sometimes deaths that are not preventable right now, right? What we should be advocating for is better farming practices to be able to protect the wildlife when we are farming our food. Not just saying, oh, well, some animals die when we harvest wheat, so we may as well exploit billions of other animals directly. It's not the same thing. Stop with this argument. It's stupid.
Now, okay, let me read some chats. It says, exactly, creating confrontation is not the way to go, but encouraging and not offensive for everything we want people to understand, but their own responsibility. Let me just tell you this. At work, I will be confrontational because that's kind of the platform. But in my personal life, I try to meet people where they are, but I also try to stand my ground very sternly. And I try to say, like, let's say I'm having a conversation with my brother who slaughters animals for his farm. It's a family farm, so just his family. It's not a business farm. And I say, yeah, I don't want to take the life of an animal. And he goes, well, God put them on the planet for us. I'd say, I don't believe in God. See how that's just the end of the conversation. But I didn't need to say like anything more than that. I should be like, oh yeah, I don't believe in God, remember? And he's like, oh yeah. Yeah, okay. And like, he doesn't care that I'm plant-based, by the way. He's like cool with it. But the point is that we don't even believe in the same reality. So why would I spend my time talking to him about being vegan or vegetarian or plant-based when he believes God put him on a planet? Like, I do not need to waste my time, girl. Like, he has 3 gay siblings and he's still homophobic. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, chat says, Britt, I love your content. I love being here. Please don't block me. I genuinely am not going to block genuine people, girl. Don't even worry. But I've never disagreed with you more because of Billie Eilish's quote. These are false dichotomies, are dangerous and intellectually lazy. You can love animals and eat them. I get the sentiment behind it and where Billie Eilish is coming from. But to be human is to be flawed and contradictory. Yeah, I think you can beat your kids and love them. And I also think at some point, it doesn't matter if you love them, you're still going to prison. I think love just means something so different to different people. And so I agree with you. I do. I think people are flawed. I think your parents can love you and beat you. I think there's accountability that needs to be had, though. You know, we eat animals. We put them. Listen, if I treated Indiana the way farming treated their animals, I'd be put in prison for animal abuse. And that's what I want you to think about. Just think about that idea. Why do we allow factory farmers to treat animals in a way that if any of us individually treated them, we would be in prison? That's what I'm saying. Okay? If you learned I was getting Indiana pregnant as consistently as possible and milking her and drinking her milk, would you not think I was fucking crazy? Would you not think like I need to unsubscribe? This lady is fucking crazy. But you are more than happy. We are more than happy as a planet to consume the animals that are tortured that way because it's in a store and it's packaged nicely. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's so interesting what we can do individually and it will be like horrifying to people. But when we do it, it's like murder. It's the same thing about being a US soldier. If we treated if any individual, us, went into someone's house and bombed their house, we'd be in prison as a terrorist. But when the US military does it, when Israel does it, oh, all of a sudden it's for freedom. So you can bomb people's houses, you can kill whole families, but I can't? Oh, because you have a uniform on? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's unethical whether you have a uniform on or not. You having a badge doesn't make it okay. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we are doing things that we don't need to be doing, that is causing unnecessary harm. And I also think unless you're willing to slaughter the animal personally, I think you should give yourself barriers. I think you should give yourself a challenge to say, why am I doing this? Again, I was tasked to kill a rooster because the rooster was killing other chickens and pecking the kids. And we decided we're going to kill the rooster. And I did a poor job of trying to kill it. It definitely suffered longer than I needed to. My brother came in quickly and and I was like, damn, it was really hard to kill that rooster. I tried killing other animals with my brothers, and I just ended up getting really physically sick and almost vomiting. And I realized, you know what? I'm good. I'm not going to do this. Now, keep in mind, I still ate meat after those instances for like a few years after that. It wasn't even any of that that made me stop eating meat. Even though I got physically sick at the processing of the meat, there were some times when I didn't. There were other instances where I saw sheep getting slaughtered, and as long as I wasn't doing it, I wasn't icked out by it. And then I could help process the meat just fine. Isn't that interesting? So again, like, it's all about challenging ourselves. That's what it does. Okay, check out this video.
That doesn't sound right.
Love dogs and still eat them? Yeah.
Shoot the dogs and eat them.
Yeah, it's a new business. It's quite controversial, but there is a market for it.
What message do you think we're trying to send here?
They're going to eat the dogs.
Do you eat meat?
I wouldn't eat poor dogs.
Why not? I mean, so we don't raise them as pets. They don't have names. This is number 12.
Which animals do you eat?
Everything but not dog.
If you can eat a pig, then you can eat a dog.
So, okay, the feeling that you have right now, just wait for 1 sec. We are vegan. We don't advocate for eating any animals.
Cats? Do you eat cats?
No, we don't eat any animal. So this is fake. It's a joke, and
So look that dog in the eye, and next time you eat an animal, think about that dog.
I'll probably stop eating pig.
That will be progress.
the feeling that you have right now is how we feel about eating all animals. If we wouldn't eat them, why is it okay to eat any other animal? The farmers say they love their animals, right? But then they kill them at the end of the day. So we're saying, well, we love our animals. What if we killed them?
That's all Billy's trying to say. People always say, oh, I can't eat a dog. I love dogs. So the argument Billy's trying to make is, okay, so if you love dogs and that's why you don't eat them, are you saying you don't love cows and pigs? And then someone might say, yeah, I don't love those animals. Okay, indigenous people, native people, I actually have some TikToks to show you. I don't remember where it is though. They were saying, we do not see animals as meat. We see them as beings. Versus the lady that Elle was debating in yesterday's vegan episode, she kept saying, I'm sorry, animals are meat, animals are meat. And she's come from a farmer background. Do you see the differerences in how they talk? Farmers say animals are meat. Indigenous folks are saying animals are beings. So there is a level of respect. There's a level of efficacy that is better done by indigenous communities because there's a cycle of, like a circle of life respect, right? Versus farmers, there's an entitlement aspect, at least in the conversation, in the context we're having it, right? Okay, another TikTok.
As a meat eater who doesn't really like animals, people who love dogs would never think that it's okay to eat dogs. People who love cats or horses would never in a million years want to eat their pets. So I kind of agree with what Billie Eilish says. Like, if you love animals, I don't think that you would be able to reconcile eating them. And to me, it's okay to not love animals. But a lot of people keep bringing up all these different things irrelevant to the argument at hand. I think the argument is the question of whether or not you can love animals and eat them, which I think, yeah, and she's kind of onto something with that. If you guys want to talk about ethical farming, ethical hunting, that's another conversation. The conversation at hand is it moral to kill animals for food? I think it is. But if you love animals, it's a little bit tricky to reconcile the love for animals and eating them.
Okay, hold on. Chat says Billy is wrong though because she's not being clear enough. She's not wrong because you don't understand her. The argument you're making is wrong because you can't say she's wrong. I don't understand her. I understood her perfectly. I feel like she made a lot of sense, right? So she can't be wrong for that reason. She must be wrong for a different reason, right? So now you need to come up with a reason for why she's wrong, a different reason. Okay? If I say to somebody, okay, I said to a family member, like, oh my God, he pursued a child. And they're like, oh my God, he pursued a child? I was like, he pursued a child. And they're like, oh my God, like, how old were they? And I was like, I think they were like 16 or 17 at the time. And they go, oh, well, it's not a kid. It's not a child. Do you see the problem there? Because what you're doing now is now you're relaxed. Now you're like, oh, that's not as bad as I thought. The problem is that's still a kid. 16 is still a kid. That is still a child. It may be not the child you imagined, but they're definitely kids, bro. Right? So when you have that conversation, okay, you have to be, what it's telling me is the people who are receiving it are wrong. You see how the person who felt relaxed is wrong? That's who's wrong, not the person who called the teenager a child. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a reflection of your values that you're upset with Billie Eilish. Because don't you probably believe that people in different cultures get to have their own beliefs and that you generally respect people for believing different things? But all of a sudden, for some reason, her particular value is very specifically offensive. Why is it specifically offensive? Why is that one specifically the most offensive? You know? You said she's wrong because she's applying her own moral standard to everyone else. If she says I'm vegan because I want to reduce harm caused to animals, 100% agree. Yeah, but you're doing that right now. What does it matter what Billy thinks if you're saying we shouldn't apply our own belief system to other people? Billy is saying her hot take, which is always controversial, is you can't love animals and eat them. That's Billy's belief. Billy is entitled to this belief. She's not forcing you to not eat meat. She's not asking for policy changes. She's not evoking politicians to fight for her. She's just saying she thinks animals shouldn't be exploited. You're saying Billy's bad for not wanting to kill things. Like, that's what I want you to contend with. That Billy is the bad guy for saying that we shouldn't kill animals. So I want you to realize that you're advocating for the slaughter of living creatures to be raised into captivity to simply be killed. That's all the argument is, right? Love is subjective, okay? It's very specific. So she can have the opinion that to her, you cannot love animals and eat them. That is an okay statement to make, right? Chad said, if she said, if you love animals, you should consider learning about the meat industry if you want to understand why can't you love animals. It was a hot, bro, lock in, please. It was a hot take. The format of the video is hot take. Okay, watch it again, guys. Media literacy, please. Media literacy, please. Put all of your thinking caps on today.
Eating meat is inherently wrong. And then the other thing is, two things cannot coincide. I love animals. I love all animals so much, and I eat meat. You can't do both. Sorry. You can eat meat. Go for it. You can love animals, but you can't do both.
Okay? So again, this is a challenge for you, right? Think about why she's saying that. If can you love your children and beat them? Answer the question. Can you love your children and beat them? Yes or no? Some would say yes, some would say no. I would say yes, but if I tell you you're beating your child, if I challenge your culture, if I challenge the way you raise your children and I say that is not helping your child, I know you're doing it because you think you love your kids, but if you really loved your kids, you wouldn't hit them, and then you keep beating your kids, I'm going to assume you don't love them. Right? The reason people beat their children most of the time is because they think that's what love is. And I'm saying if we can confuse love for rape and physical violence, then what else are we confusing love for? Okay? That's what I'm saying. It's a challenge to humanity as a whole. Guys, the world cannot be the way it is. And if we're not all contributing, you cannot be the only good guy in the story. Because what you're saying is, I am good and I know I'm good and everything I'm doing is great. Except instead of saying, I wonder why Billy said that. I wonder what I think. Do I think that? Am I doing that? We are all complicit in the way that the world is, right? Okay, let me read some chat. Okay, let's see. Can't love animals and eat them is like you can't love someone and abuse them, is what she's saying. That is what she's saying, right? Now, you can disagree on that, right? Bell Hooks always said, like, she infamously says, like, love can't exist where abuse is. And I think that's because we're raised, especially women, we're raised to believe that abuse can still have love. And though I think that can be technically true, I think it doesn't matter. Like, the love at this point doesn't even matter. Like, what good is your love if you beat me? What good is your love if you rape me? What good is your love if you're bigoted towards me? Like, what good is your love if I end up in hell? That's why you decenter Jesus, decenter religion, decenter patriarchy, and you realize, what good is your love if you only protect me against other men who rape me, but not you? What good is your love if you send me to hell for being gay? Like, what good is your love at that point if you're willing to slaughter me? What good is this love if you're going to eat me? You know? So that's why you have to, it's a challenge. That's why it's a challenge. Oh, do I love? Is this true? Is that honest? Okay. Next video.
Eilish's take on veganism is so privileged. Doesn't she know that there are Native Americans that eat meat for cultural reasons? Is probably what I would say if I was a white woman who wanted to use somebody else's culture to try to justify my crappy opinion. Because just so we're all clear, 90% of the meat and dairy that we eat in this country comes from CAFOs, concentrated animal feeding operations. So more than likely, the meat that you go get from your grocery store is from one of these awful places. Do you know what CAFOs do to POC communities? Do you know how it pollutes their air and their water? Do you know how it destroys their local economy? Do you know how it brings health issues to the people that live in those communities? Gastrointestinal issues? Breathing issues? Have you ever thought about the workers in those CAFOs? How they're mostly Black and Latino, undocumented people? Have you ever thought about the mental anguish that they must experience having to kill animals repeatedly all day long, every single day? Do you think about that when you're calling Billie Eilish privileged for promoting veganism? Do you think about how the workers that pack your meat suffer on average 2 amputations per week? And just so we're clear, these are Latinos, African Americans, and other POCs, mostly undocumented people. A large portion of them are undocumented. I just think if you want to sit there and call vegans privileged and unaware, maybe you should look into where your meat and dairy comes from and how you're the one who's sitting there trying to use vegans to justify calling someone else privileged. You don't even realize how privileged you are to go to the store and pick up that pound of hamburger meat that took more water than 20 ChatGPT prompts to produce and probably cost someone a limb that week. But hey, yeah, I'm the privileged one. Billie Eilish is the really privileged one for trying to speak on an important issue that affects POC communities more than you would ever think because you don't care to know.
Okay, I will say the only issue with this argumentation, and I will say this, is that being vegan doesn't mean you're not racist, and Billie does have a history of engaging and associating with maybe problematic people. So this isn't even a defense of Billie Eilish as a person, because I think she's deeply problematic, and I think she's in a bad relationship with a man who's 31 and she's 24. I don't know what that's about. Okay, so Billie needs somebody save Billie. But I will say that I don't think Billie Eilish is thinking about POC communities or the environment when she's talking, because most vegans, again, veganism is about the exploitation of animals. It is not a climate statement. Is that anything else? It does help the climate. It does help POC people. It does help other people, but it doesn't have to. So I don't know how much Billie Eilish really like cares about those people, but I would say this girl does. And that is another way to look at it too. So she's giving just another perspective. Okay, here's another perspective.
Billion animals. How are we feeding 80 billion animals, but we can't feed 8 billion humans?
So process that information, girls. You are being exploited by the meat industry. So all the feed, all the food they are raising, all the farms that exist just to feed the cows so you can buy the meat instead of just feeding you directly. This is why capitalism is evil.
It actually goes all the way back to grade school, the food chain. At the bottom, we have plants which get their energy from the sun, then primary consumers like deer which eat the plants, and secondary consumers like lions which eat the deer. But according to the law of energy transfer, percent of energy is lost along each stage of the food chain. So the sun may provide 10,000 calories of energy to the grass, the deer then eats that grass and it only gets 1,000 calories, and by the time we get to the lion, it only has 100 calories out of the original 10,000. That's only 10% of the original energy. Now let's replace.
I think she made a community note about that 10% edit. There's an error in this video. While 10% of the energy is transferred at each step of the food chain, the final amount is just 1% of the original, 100 out of 10,000, just so you know.
The grass with corn, the deer with a cow, and the lion with a human, and we have our current food system. Most of us today are.
This, by the way, was in a documentary that I was watching about getting your vitamins, like your B12 and stuff, and like your protein. And when I learned that we get protein from animals who eat plants, I was like, what? And then I was like, I'm just going to go straight to getting my protein from plants then. Why the fuck am I eating an animal for protein if protein only exists in the animal? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck?
Eating towards the top of the food chain where there isn't much energy left. But what if we ate the plants directly rather than feeding them to animals first? We'd actually recover a majority of these calories. One estimate suggests that if we ate all of the crops meant for animal feed, we would save.
Okay, Chad says, I eat meat, but sometimes I find both on the internet, the people who eat meat and the vegans who don't eat meat very annoying. I wonder if it's just an internet thing. It's a human thing. Guys, you're annoying. You are unbearably annoying. I am unbearably annoying. We are so fucking annoying. We are the worst. Period. That's not a reason not to be a good person. Okay? Like, just because people are annoying, that's why I say you have to do the good thing even if nobody else is doing it. You have to do the right thing even if people are annoying. We're all very annoying. Period. The end.
This many calories. That's enough to feed 4 billion people or everyone facing world hunger today. Yeah. So one of the simplest ways.
Also, the internet is a place people go to be like, the same internet conversations we have here are the same ones I grew up with having with my family. It's the same to me. The internet's no different than hanging out with my family. Everyone sucks because no one's actually challenging their own belief systems because it's too damn hard and it's a much more entertaining just to fight.
To make our food system more efficient is to just eat lower on the food chain. Be like the deer. How are we feeding?
Okay, I really like this process. This really helped my brain because I was like trying to bulk. I was like trying to build muscle. I was eating all of this, like, you know, chicken and protein and stuff. And I was like, I saw this documentary during my 30-day vegan challenge. And I was like, wait, I can just get protein from plants? Okay. Now, let me tell you, sometimes mentally, I wish I could just buy chicken breast and call it a day. I do. Sometimes I'm like, that would just be easier. But then I remember, and my partner loves to point this out to me, he goes, you didn't even like chicken breast when you were eating meat. And I'm like, you know what? Touche. That's true. I like chicken wings. So like, even in my head, when I remember in my brain how easy it is to quote eat chicken, I didn't even like chicken breast. He was like, it wasn't like you were eating it. And I was like, that's a great point. That's a great point. And that's the other part too, is I think we think about, oh, if I could just eat this again, but you didn't eat it before anyways. When I was a meat eater and I ate anything I wanted, I almost never bought chicken breast. So, ooh.
7 years of.
Oh, I like him too. Okay, what I eat in a day, 7 years plant-based.
This is what I eat in a day, almost 7 years of being plant-based and prioritizing whole foods. I've been on a huge toast kick recently, so I've been starting my days with a multi-grain sourdough toast. This helps me have sustained energy throughout the earlier parts of my day. And you can't break the fast without hydration, so alongside it, I have this watermelon juice that I blended up with lemon, mint, and ginger. For lunch, I always do a bowl of some sort, but I had these leftover tortillas and chickpeas, so I wanted to go in with this easy
That's the greatest skill you will ever have, is being able to look at your fridge and say, what can I make out of this? My mother used to challenge us. She'd be like, look in the fridge, or at least for me, she'd go, look in the fridge. What can you make from this? Look at all these things I can make from this.
chickpea wrap. I started by making a quick onion and cabbage slaw, followed by steaming up some broccoli and frying off some tostones. I do batch cooking, so I have a lot of things left over. So I added some leftover Brussels sprouts and chickpeas to the pan to steam. Then I built out my chickpea wrap, which filled out the rest of my bowl, which I added some raw greens to. I'm all about balanced eating, and this hit every mark for me. Following on my one big meal, I always want to replenish on my hydration. For that, I'll either make a fresh pressed juice or I'll have coconut water, but today I opted for coconut water. The electrolytes help me stay regulated and energized energized through the later parts of my day. And later in the day, I like to keep things light, so I almost always make an acai bowl. And this Ninja Swirl has been a game changer as far as elevating the texture of my bowls every night. Top it off with some fresh fruit, some granola, and a bit of seed butter if I'm feeling it. And that's a balanced day of eating that keeps me feeling whole, and I can't wait to do it again tomorrow. This is what I eat in a day, almost 7.
Every time I need to feel inspired, you know, every time I need to think about what I'm eating. And guys, I just go for what I want. Like, I imagine the food I want. I go, do I want that? No. It's like, I'm almost Tinder dating for food. I'm like, do I want chickpeas? No. Do I want tofu today? No. What do I want? Do I want fries? No. What do I want? Like, what am I in the mood for? And then I find what I'm in the mood for, and then I go and I try to make that, or I look on TikTok to say, ooh, like, can I find a recipe for this, right? Now, if you're like me and you're also trying to beef up, bros, you're trying to beef up and you're like, you can't get protein from vegan diets don't matter, like plant-based doesn't matter. Let me introduce you to some people.
How going vegan helped increase my physical performance. My name's Corinne Sutton. I'm a vegan bodybuilder as well online fitness coach. I've been vegan for over 11 years and I'm going to tell you the truth. My performance has skyrocketed since I changed to a plant-based diet. When I was consuming meat, I did build some muscle. By transitioning more into a plant-based diet, some of the benefits that I found, my energy increased, my skin got a lot clearer, better sleep, and the best thing, my libido also increased. And since I've been vegan, I continue to build more muscle mass, especially as a bodybuilder who's won multiple shows and also a 3-time pro bodybuilder in multiple tested bodybuilding federations. With that said, if you want to start seeing results when it comes to training, recovery, go ahead and comment down below new vegan.
Love him. Okay, here's another girly.
This is what eating a day is.
Whoa! My ears got blasted.
Someone who focuses on high protein but high fiber, nutritious food as much as possible. I've been vegan for 12 years and I feel like I've nailed my healthy balanced diet.
Ooh, vegan pancakes.
Guys, I have made protein pancakes every day for 2 weeks, right? I can't get over them. They're my new improved recipe. You'll find them on the app. Along with that is, of course, my daily protein iced coffee. Can't say no. Moving on, we have the crispy tofu sandwich. Now, I don't know if it's summer vibes, but the beans and toast is out the window and the sandwiches are in. I'm going through a real good tofu, cheesy pesto, jalapeno sandwich phase. Fresh fruits for snacks. And then this is a hack. Get a pizza and add your own, like tofu, extra cheese, and red.
That's delicious. Another example.
Guys,
he's really popular.
This is what I eat in a day. The top vegan bodybuilder. Shakes usually start my day. Vega's my favorite. Seitan balls that I make pretty much every day. I also do these supplements, creatine and hormone optimizer. I have a burger. I get some kisses from Kitty. Drink my gallon of water, and that's how we do it. Let's go. Be sure to follow me for more tips on what I eat in a day. Hey, what's up, guys?
Okay. And then look at this girly, and then I'll look at TikToks. Some of you sent me some TikToks. Look at this girly.
White veganism. Yes, fuck white veganism, but why do you guys keep bringing them up? How come every single time we try to have the conversation about veganism, reducing your consumption of meat and dairy, the animal agricultural industry, the exploitation of animals, the destruction of the environment because of the animal agricultural industry, you guys want to bring up white vegans? You guys claim to hate them. You claim that they're giving
P.S. for those who are arguing like natty or not, look, bro, there's a whole gym bubble of competitive bodybuilders. They're mostly not natty. If you know anything about gym bubbles, most of the guys who are competitive bodybuilders are not natty. So whether you're natty or not doesn't matter. The point is that you can go vegan, right? You can be plant-based. Because a lot of those gym bros are like, I can't get this physique unless I'm girl. Like, it doesn't matter. Okay? That's the point.
Veganism a bad name and that they don't represent all vegans. Okay, so stop bringing them up. Why do you guys keep centering their voices when there are black, brown, indigenous vegans out there? There are Asian vegans. There are vegans all over the world. You guys do realize that a lot of vegan foods come from Asia, South America, Africa. There are poor vegans, there are disabled vegans, there are chronically ill vegans. Like all of these excuses that people make.
Exactly. So don't make an excuse, just explain the reason. And don't even explain it, right? Like, don't excuse it. Have a reason why. Like, again, you don't have to be vegan or plant-based, but don't say, like, be clear with yourself. Because, like, again, guys, it's like when you date a guy who's an incel and he's like, women won't date me. No matter what I do, women won't date me. It's like, okay, you can keep telling me that, but like, you need to have a different relationship with why you're not dating. You know, it's like listening to anybody think of the group of people you don't like. Think of them. Think of a group of people you don't like who say they can't do something you want them to do, and then they'll give you the reason why, and doesn't it just feel like an excuse? So then be honest. Be like, honestly, I just don't want to do it. Or honestly, it doesn't work for me. Or honestly, I don't think it's wrong. Instead of, oh, I have to do it, or this is just like everyone's doing it, or that's just how the culture is, or you know what I mean?
For not going vegan because of these reasons. Okay, there are vegans out there that check all of those boxes and they share their resources. They share what they do. There are vegans who live in food deserts. Like, why don't you guys center those voices? If you actually care this much about the environment, if you care about animal exploitation, if you care about the harms of the animal agricultural industry, center the voices that you want to listen to and stop talking about white vegans. And please stop using indigenous people as a shield for why you don't want to go vegetarian, vegan, or just even reduce.
Yeah, see, that's the part that's annoying to me, is when non-indigenous people bring up indigenous people. Like, girlie, are you them? Are you doing what they're doing? Then keep your mouth shut. Indigenous people are on their own journey with their own struggles. Colonization has ruined their communities in so many ways, but they can't be the reason that's why I said everybody who's chronically ill, everybody who has super strict diets, everybody who is in a food desert, I will even eliminate you from this running. Everybody who has the privilege of being near a grocery store and shops at a grocery store, Costco, Sam's Club, Ralph's, whatever, you have access. So you can't say I don't have access.
Reduce your meat and dairy intake. Y'all love to say, well, veganism is anti-indigenous when there are indigenous vegans out there. And last time I checked, it wasn't indigenous people that owns these big farms and corporations. It's not indigenous people that are factory farming, that are mass breeding animals, that are artificially inseminating female cows and separating them from their calves. It's not indigenous people that are tearing down the Amazon rainforest to make room for cattle farming and soy production for the livestock. If anything, it's the meat and dairy industry that is anti-indigenous. Not only because they're the ones that are using up land, water, emitting greenhouse gases into the ozone layer, exploiting and abusing their workers that are mostly black, brown, indigenous, and immigrants, but their treatment of the animals, mass breeding the animals, forcing them into cramped, dirty areas, artificially inseminating the female cows and separating them from their calves so that they don't drink their mother's milk. How is that an indigenous practice? Indigenous people don't do that. Y'all love to say indigenous people have a strong relationship to the land and the animals, and we care for the animals and we use all parts of the animals. Okay, but your meat is not coming from that. Your dairy is not coming from that. You're getting your meat and dairy from a grocery store, from a corporation owned by white.
Okay, example. No ethical consumption under capitalism is for people who seriously struggling and feel like they have no choice. That could be true in a plant-based sense, right? The issue is when you see people that are wealthy, especially call themselves leftist, eating meat, engaging in climate non-consciousness, like not actually doing their due diligence. Like, that's like, okay, I am privileged enough. I am privileged enough to live near a farmer's market and a grocery store, which means with that knowledge and with me being at this stage of life, I've made the decision to be plant-based, right? My partner is not plant-based. I am not making a prescription. None of my family members are plant-based. Nobody in my life is plant-based. Brittany, because of my personal ethics and morals, which differ slightly in this category from my partners, okay? Because we're two different people who happen to be married, okay? And it's not a deal breaker for us, okay? Because of my personal ethics and morals, I make different decisions with how I consume, what I buy, how I travel, what I engage, you know what I mean? The question is, what are your values, your morals? How do you justify it? If you justify it, great, okay, right? That's the question. That's the challenge. The challenge isn't to hold it over people's heads or to gloat like you're a bad person and I'm a good person. The idea is to say, oh yeah, why do we do? That's why I always say with Hassan Piker, I always go, I wonder what his real beliefs are. And I don't mean that as a Hassan hater. I mean that as a Hassan, like I want to like him, but I don't understand what he believes. I just don't get it. I don't know what he's in. Like this lady, I feel like I know exactly what she believes. She is so real and passionate and she like has a reasoning, agree or disagree. I get it. When Hassan talks, I'm like, So what do you believe? Like, what do you embody? How does it show up in your life? What do you believe, right? That's why I challenge myself to say, okay, Brittany, you say you love animals, but you do this. You say you engage this way, but you do this. You say this, but this. Okay, let me think about it. Maybe, do I believe this? Do I actually think this? And then I don't think in objective morality. So if you change your mind, you change your mind. That's why I'm plant-based and not vegan. But like, I don't believe in objective morality, right? Just as, do you think it will ever change for you? Is it being a deal breaker? I don't know. We talk about it openly as a couple. I don't think so, but I tell you this. I think, because I'm not icked out by handling meat. I'm icked out by cooking meat. I mean, I haven't done it in a while, but I'm not icked out by buying it. I don't have any of those repulsions. I will say this though. Because again, I'm plant-based, I'm not vegan. I'm plant-based, I'm not vegan. This is very important, guys. This is very important you process this information out loud. I am not vegan, which means I'm not gonna have, like, some vegans like can't even be around dead animals. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Okay. Maybe if I was vegan, I still wouldn't. If I was vegan though, and I hadn't dated my partner yet, I don't think I would date a non-vegan. But I'm not vegan. But if I was vegan before I met my partner, I would have dated them because they were not vegan, I think. But I'm not vegan, so.
Billionaires. And these factory farms waste so much. They produce so much waste. They don't use all parts of the animal. They don't treat the animals with respect. But like, y'all don't want to think about that. And indigenous people are not a fucking monolith. Why do you guys bring up indigenous people? You're not indigenous. You don't support indigenous farmers. You don't support indigenous hunters. And not every indigenous person eats meat. And again, fuck white vegans. They're all the way over there. Who cares about what they have to say? Vegans, like the actual animal rights movement, the end of exploitation, they don't give a fuck about what indigenous people do. They're not talking about them. They're not talking about indigenous people who have to hunt because they don't live by grocery stores or because of, you know, the environment that they're in. No one is talking about them. But again, you guys love to center white vegans so bad. We are talking about the people who eat meat and dairy for every single meal, every single day of the week. Those who have the means to go vegetarian, vegan, reduce their meat and dairy intake, but don't. If you have access to a grocery store, if you have access to rice, beans, lentils, bananas, potatoes, frozen fruits and vegetables, any of these things that are way cheaper than meat and dairy, you can go vegetarian, vegan, reduce your meat and dairy intake. Y'all don't want to because it's inconvenient for you, and I need
That's what I want you to be honest about.
Y'all to be more honest about that. You like the taste of meat and dairy more than you care about the environment, more than you care about the animals. There was even a video.
Which is, guys, it's okay. Just say it. That's what I'm saying. If that's your reasoning, I get it. I totally get it. Like, that's why it feels like weird to us. Like, just, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it feels that way when you talk to anybody. Like, you're comfortable enough that it's better to stay there than to do something different. That's why I say, like, it's very uncomfortable to challenge yourself. You have to change everything that you are. Like, it's very annoying. So not everyone, though, not everyone will have that experience. But if most people are having that experience, just realistically. And the same way that you order your Ubers, you order out, you don't save money, you don't live within your means. Like, most of people who are spending, you know, $800 a month on Uber, like, you're not really trying to save money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you say that, like, the same people who are making $250,000 a year showing up on a Ramith's show, talking about how, like, we live paycheck to paycheck. Girlies, you are not living paycheck to paycheck on $250,000 a year. You know what I mean? And that's why I say, like, we live with cognitive dissonance. Like, human beings, if they believe the story they tell themselves enough, it's over. And that's it. Just, you know, you got to be real with yourself and be like, yeah, like, I'm bad with money. $250,000 a year and I have credit card debt? Damn. You know, and I have no explanation for that. You know what I'm saying?
Of someone saying that, yeah, there's rice, beans, lentils, and stuff in the grocery store, but no one wants to eat that. No one wants to eat that.
As if most of the planet isn't eating it.
So again, it's just convenience for you guys. It's just all about taste and not because you actually care about the environment and the animals, or because you care about indigenous people or poor people or disabled people. So just stop making excuses and just be honest.
So again, I'm not making the prescription, but I think there's something like for most people that's going to be the conversation. Same thing when you're talking to a guy who like is, you know, feminists talk to men all the time and men will be like, women are like this and men are like this. And I'm like, or you could just like deconstruct patriarchy. And they're like, no, like that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like instead of deconstructing the slaughter industry, instead of deconstructing the meat industry, you guys are like, I'm going to deconstruct everything else about capitalism except that. Are you anti-capitalist or not? If you're anti-capitalist, how could you not look at food production? That's why I question these leftists and why, like, I am a leftist, but I question why veganism is so triggering to leftists, because out of all the groups of people that should be empathetic to vegans, it should be anti-capitalists. It's your literal food. Your literal food. That's so interesting to me. Chat says, look at this YouTuber. She says she's vegan. Summer Fun Fitness. Let's see. I'm going to get copyrighted. Okay, looking good. Okay, ooh, nice. I want to do this. This is what I'm working on right now. I'm working on stuff like this. It's going to take me so long. But I feel like I'm making some what's this word? Like I'm accomplishing some of my goals here. Yes, we've been doing splits in yoga for the Discord and I feel very good about it. Yes, this is my goal. I want to get here. This is what I've been working on too. Yes, let's go. Woo, look at those definition. This is my body goal. These are body goals, body goals, body goals, body goals. Okay. Yeah. I'm here for this. I'm here for the flexibility. I'm here for the muscles. I want as big as I can get, girl. Let's go. Yep. I've been practicing on our pull-up bar. Absolutely not accomplished. Oh, look at those arms, bro. Look at that definition. Oh my God. I gotta go work out, bro. Just today is lower body. Today is lower body, baby. Hello. Today's technically full body, but a focus on lower body. Look at that. Hello. Okay, mami. This is what I do all day. I love watching Fit Talk. I love watching Gym Talk. I love it. Plant-based TikTok, my favorite. Guys, that's it for today. Any questions, comments, opinions? We did it. I just want to be flexible and mobile as I age and I'll be able to get off the floor. My partner and I have been very focused on aging and getting ourselves off the floor and just staying very like in our bodies. We went for a cute little walk the other day. Look at us trying to get our steps in. Officially the thrill of our life, you know? Getting our steps in, doing our muscles. Okay, if nobody has any questions, I'm gonna go edit the video about what I ate this week and how I spent 58. Actually, my budget is €50, 58 USD a week, but I actually spent under my budget this week for food. Let me see. Chess says, is it meat? I just try propaganda saying being vegan makes you weak and skinny. Is it the meat industry? Well, the meat industry, just for you, so you know, right? The meat industry is like deeply capitalistic. They do not care about your health. All they care about is making money, right? Says, can we check out Dark Warrior? Why? What's he going through? Honestly, I saw recently he was fighting with another YouTuber, but it was boring as fuck. I tried watching it and I just wanted to, it was boring. Who's Dark Warrior? Oh wait, this is a different guy. Am I thinking about somebody else? Who's this? Who is this? Are you sure you have the right username? This is like a no channel. This is like a no view channel. Oh, this is that autistic guy. No, I'm not going to watch this. This is just some incel propaganda. No. Why would we watch this guy again? No, this is just like incel propaganda. We watched this guy on stream and we thought he was weird. Yeah, why would you want to watch this guy? Why? I don't get it. I don't get it. No, we're not going to watch him. All right, we'll go. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye-bye-bye-bye.